Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for the Digital Future 2.0 parallel session. And today we have most renowned speakers from all across India who will be delivering practical sessions in this hall. So firstly, I would like to call CA Venugopal sir on the dais. Put your hands together for Venugopal sir, please. So I would like to display the screen for Venugopal sir for his profile. I would like to call our past president Madhav Sureka sir to felicitate CM Venugopal Gella sir on stage. Please sir, come. Venugopal sir is a founder partner in Venu and Vinay Chartered Accountants since 2002. His academic credentials including securing All India rank 45th in CA final as well as completing several other certificate courses from ICI. His profile is displayed on the screen. So I call you for the deliberation and make this occasion a very occasionful. Thank you, sir.
All right. A very good morning, everyone. And I'm very happy to be here. And this is more to do with little technical side of it. When it comes to the technical side of it, let me tell you that it is vast, really vast. Like when I'm generally practice in the GST and technology space. Whenever we look at technology, there are no one single answer. For example, most of you would have reached this venue from different places, but every one of you are knowing that there are multiple roads and approaches to reach this venue. Likewise, to address a single problem, there are multiple technology solutions. The only question that you need to ask yourself is that, are you improving yourself? Just some time back, we heard the secretary sir was saying that today the digital world is moving, and DigiYatra came up, and with the face, just that we automatically moved and moving to a new world. So the questions that we need to ask ourselves that, are we upgrading? Like the CP that we take up is the continuous professional education to ensure our skills are sharpened. And I'm sure everyone knows this story that the woodcutter, between the two woodcutters, who is great was the woodcutter who is not just chopping the wood, but the one who is spending at least 2 hours, 3 hours sharpening his axe and then getting onto the work. So are we, whenever we get a problem, are we just jumping in to solve that? Are we trying to sharpen our axes and solving that? Is the question that you have to ask yourself. The second question you have to ask yourself is like, what is your capacity? If your firm has an ability to handle 10 clients, are you handling how many clients? And is this capacity the same year over year? Assuming that I don't want you to diverse, I don't want to increase the more number of clients, but a single client comes, like say Infosys or TCS, who says that, can you do internal audit or stat audit or some audit for me? Are we in a capacity to handle that volume and deliver? This is the second question that you need to answer yourself. Third question, how much we are investing in the technology. It's like we invest in good looking gadgets, good looking laptops, or good looking various things. But the data that is getting in, is it still the Excel? Are we still in the Excel era that, okay, I want to do some work on the Excel? Or are we using some niche tools which are doing more to data analysis? Earlier, they always used to say the learning curve always has to be a T, wherein you need to know it's like even our CS syllabus, if you see, it's a kind of a T curve when we do a practice. So we know from accounting, income tax, company secretarial services to everything, we know the breadth of it. But eventually when we practice, we say that you practice one domain, you specialize in it, go deepen in it. But today, no business school says that the T is a learning curve, they say W. You definitely need to have specialization in two areas. So you need to have a two parallel deepened specialization, again both interconnected. And I would say for the chartered accountants in practice, we need to adopt the technology as the second curve, at least for another 10 years to come, because there's a huge shift that is happening globally, and technology is going to definitely replace many of the mundane works, right? This is the third thing which I want to say, that deepen your knowledge and do it. Now, in this session, I'm going to showcase some of the tools, and when I'm showcasing some of the tools, I just want to tell that this is not the way to approach it, but that is one of the way to approach it, right? But the point that I want you to really take back home is that how much you are investing in the firm, in your practice, in automating your works is the question that you need to ask yourself. So I'll just randomly pick some of the works that I do in the office that we do automation, all those things we do it, right? So of course I'm using Tally because this is one of the software which people generally use it predominantly, and so you need to know if we are doing it in Tally, is like you can do it in any software, whether it is SAP, whether whatever, Zoho, whatever is the software, it's a software. Today, if you look at income tax or internal audit or stat audit, what are we actually doing? If you ask yourself, there is a CARO report that we issue in the stat audit report. For internal audit, you have your management report that needs to go. While you are doing GST 990, there's a format that goes in, and you have back workings that the data that you fill in some templates, and which will give you the result. But the answer to all of it is one simple point, is a structured query of the data. You expect some results, based on that you take decisions. If I have to give you, let's say on internal audit or a stat audit, one simple thing that you would want to look at it is the starting with the share capital. During the year, if has there any increase in the share capital? Have they done bonus issue? Do you want to quickly cross check with the MCA website and download and see it, right? Or if you are looking at the debtors, you would want to look at the confirmation of the balances, which seldom it is received. So neither the client takes interest in forwarding, or the to whom it has been sent, neither they send it. But you also want to see whether the receipts happened in the subsequent period. Is the balance closed? The aging of it, how long it is pending, at least to take a qualitative decision whether the provision which is created is sufficient or not. Whether do you want to put a disclaimer report or put it into key audit matters, the way the revenue is. So you, to do something, give report something, you want to do something, right? And what you want to do is not haphazard. Maybe in your mind you know how it needs to be done. The only thing that is missing is it is not written as a text or a query which can be given it back to team that okay, you do this. If the result of this, if it is this, I want you to say this. If the result of this is this, I want to say this. I'm sure at least from last 3-4 years, most of the firms are adopting at least some audit working tools or workflow management tools, or at least timesheet management, and for the purpose of peer review. There is an increase in the documentation that has happened. That's very good on one front. The other front, are we increasing the way the work which we are doing, right? So I would start with one of the aspect, and I will start with one application. Okay, we use this the Tally on Wheels. So basically, here I am just adding a company. It will, okay, there are two companies. Let me start with one simple company. All right. So I will say, okay, it automatically picks, and I'm just syncing the data. Now, it's just a matter of maybe 2 minutes to 5 minutes, depending on the internet speed, your process speed, everything. It is going to do exactly whatever I have said for your share capital or debtors or creditors. It is going to prepare host of information. Right? Again, let me repeat. This is just one of the tools. The objective is, do not focus on the tool, do not focus on the software, focus on what is that you need to do. So it has done, and it has prepared some ledger analysis report and various reports. So which are all can be downloaded to Excel. In fact, I think I've just run that and downloaded. Let me see. Yeah, I've just downloaded this reports in the morning. Yeah. So it is giving me so many reports. These reports would be visible here. Various things. Let's start looking at the report which it has generated. Now, starting first and foremost thing, today is the era of perfection. Today is the era of deepening. So you cannot give away saying that I have done a test check of the results and basis this I am giving. We have seen NAFRA also has given various statements saying that you have not checked one aspect. In fact, they are focused on looking at what we have not checked and asking why we have not checked that, right? But how do you ensure that you check 100% of the transaction? So here, this tool has just quickly analyzed and it has given an Excel report which is giving different context, different answers. Let me start with my debtors, alright. So it is saying that there are, in the debtors, there are so many entries where firstly these are been posted using journal entry. Ideally you are debiting a debtor, credit should be somewhere in the income, whether you are using a journal or a sales. But it is saying that I am finding the credit in somewhere other than income. So there is not income ledger. So someone has to get into why this is not into income ledger and why it is like this, right? So it is giving you index of various information. So there is, it says cash receipts more than 10,000 rupees. So these are the some travel advance given and travel advance returned back. In fact, you should see surprise that there is something 96,50,000 is also showing in one of the result. Maybe this is just a grouping issue. A check on hand has been grouped, the data ledger name check on hand has been grouped as cash, right? So someone does the grouping errors also. But the question is someone actually going, because by the mind when you see the ledger by name check or bank, you will actually think that okay, ye to banking transaction hai, right? But configuration issues needs to be addressed, right? So there are cash payments which have been taken. For the purpose of 269 SS and TT, you need to scroll through all the loan repayments and loan receipts. Do we quickly get that information? It's necessary that today when you are taking GST input tax credit, it should be visible in 2B, you have to do reconciliation of it. But does the client is maintaining it? Like here it is giving me a report saying that there are around 108 suppliers. 108 suppliers have been created without any GST number to it. Of course, and for some of them there are transactions, for some of them there are no transactions, but there is a list, right? So likewise, if you see, there is a host of information. It is like, as we are seeing it, like it took the data, it processed and given. Systems today are data hungry. If we manually, whatever we are seeing, manually one has to do, it would easily take 15 to 30 days. But systems are capable of processing this at a much faster pace, right? So it is also giving me, there are around 19,000 vouchers, transactions where TDS is not done, right? Now, firstly getting all these vouchers where TDS is not done is one part. And maybe genuinely some of them might not be applicable. So if I have to just put a simple pivot of it, majority could be a salary. Like if I say my ledger and I go by the amount, let me just pick that. Let me just group also for ease of it. Like if you see this, I'll zoom this a bit. Okay, so there are transactions which have been directly done through bank. This is also something which happens. And you might want to know the contra ledger, which is the party to whom it has happened. So it will also give you the party to which it has happened. So we know the transactions of salary can be ignored. But here I have paid some 25,000 here. Various things that have been paid also shows up. So in a quick scan, you know why TDS is not done. So this is a courier charges. Now, I am not sure whether applicable or not, right? So, in my team, there is someone in the tax team who can say what is the limit, what is the rate, applicable or not. But even to go back to my team to ask whether the TDS is applicable or not, so someone has to extract all this transaction from the maze of the transaction and he has to present it. So, this is something which we have to give it to the tools. Human mind is very good in analyzing and comprehending and interpreting. We are not good to spend the time in creating reports. That's the job of the system. So, have the system prepare reports the way you want. All right. Now, most softwares might not be suitable to you. Today, there are a lot of software companies who can build applications to you. We don't explore that. There are generalized softwares. Please start with generalized software. Any software which you are using is good, but use a software. It's like not having software is not good. I'll give you a simple example, filing GST returns, GSTR1 and 3B. You say, what is there in GSTR1? There is an Excel which is given by the government. I'll take my ERP. ERP is giving me a JSON file, or it will give me an equivalent CSV file. I'll copy it into this. It will generate a JSON and I'll upload. Right? Pretty simple. So, there is no rocket science. Why do I need a software for it? Now, look at it. We are in the month of January. We will file the December GSTR1 for the clients. While filing your December GSTR1, do you at all check April 23, the return which was filed, is today also the books of accounts for April 23 is same or not? Do you ask that question? Answer is no. We are not having time to ask those questions. But we never know. Someone would have posted a wrong entry, someone would have done something. But is there a quick way? Can the system read this data? Can the system read the data which is there in the portal? Simply, there is no change in any of the transactions. Same, everything is same. But just a customer का GST number change कर दिया. Like the customer ने बोला, sir, मेरा दो कंपनी है, ये कंपनी में आपने invoice issue किया, इसको ये कंपनी में डालना है. Right? So when that happens, do we really go back and put it into an amendment? Now, it's like unless client comes back and says that this is the change that needs to be done, a client is asking, we don't get into it. But if we give it to the system asking that, okay, delta bhi nikal do ki kuch changes hua kya, system would do it. Right? And I'm not sure how many of you have a practice of issuing reports to the client for every work. It's like as simple as a work. If we file GSTR1 and 3B for the month, we issue one compliance report for that month, which would include the format of GSTR9, format of GSTR9C, the balance of electronic credit ledger, cash ledger, and how it has been utilized, and what is the data which has been relied upon, compiled into one book, and it is sent. Into a PDF, it is sent, no printed. But to compile into one PDF, I have filed R1 in one document. The tally data or the sales register which has come, it is in one Excel file. My electronic cash ledger, credit ledger, balance 3B, there are multiple Word, Excel, PDFs. But one simple tool you can get it done, or it is available. You can ask, you can just load this for, press that button, it will automatically merge everything into one single document. You can just send it off. And you can have one covering letter as also as a Word document saying that compliance report for the month of this. That's pretty simple. But from the client perspective, it definitely looks as an effort. All right, if someone has to do it, is an effort. So my point is, are we looking at doing things like that? And these are all simple Excel tools, and most of the tools are available, or you only voice out. The only thing which is not possible for the software, you know what? What is not possible for a program to do? Whatever you cannot imagine, that is not possible. Whatever you say, I need this, that is possible. So what is lacking is not out there that someone is saying that this is not possible. What is actually lacking is you questioning yourself and asking, is this possible? Right? So in fact, is this possible? Yesterday, one of the client was actually asking, saying that, this is a client, he says that we deal with a lot of hotels, and they have their own restaurants, and they do cross billing. So they want to automatically fetch this data. So they use Tally as a software. So they want bill-wise details. I have to get it, and this should come automatically. And iska summary मेरे को automatically बनना है. And all that I will have to do is month end I just run a report. I press this button, and the email has to go to the client. Actually, the email has gone. So if you see, this email has gone. Let me just change. And by the way, I have a passion to programming. I do it. So that doesn't mean that you need to be programmers. There are hundreds of people on the planet who can do it. So I just this button. So now I am not sending the thing. You can see automatically it has come into the mailbox, and it loops and sends email to all the vendors. So wherever your GST or 2B is not matching, system can automatically do and send the emails by itself. You don't need to. We don't need to do any of this stuff by ourselves. Now you might be thinking that being a CA, why should I get into this? But this is still an accounts profession. It's like the job of the accountant there has to follow up with the client. Now, if you ask him to get your debtors confirmation every year, which is not happening, now as a part of the internal audit, now which I'm enforcing him that every month I want a confirmation. Now he might be wondering, every month do I do my data entry, or do I have to send these emails, follow up for it? The thing is, if the data is in one place, somewhere there is a data in one place, could be any format, could be in a raw format. Today, most softwares give a facility of scanning the data. In fact, most of you, if you are using, say, iPhone, of course I am having iPhone, but you just go to, say, in your WhatsApp, and just before you type something, and you will find one small screen appearing. You just scan it. The picture which is coming up, it will convert into a text. Today there are tools, I drag and drop, it is converted and posted into a journal entry. Today there are tools, you have the bank statement. In fact, we do a lot of customization and do work on automation of the accounting software. Today I don't want people to upload a file to a bank portal, because there are a lot of banking frauds that happen, intentionally, unintentionally also. The CSV file which is uploaded, most of the time there is a maker checker. It's a good control. But the person who is uploading, who is approving, someone has uploaded a CSV file, someone is approving it. The person who is approving, does he really know that this is the person it is paid to? Answer is no. उसमें दिखाया जाएगा, एक नाम रहेगा, एक number रहेगा, the account number. If I ask you your own 13-digit bank account number, you don't know. Now, given that is the scenario, I am seeing as an CFO, I am approving some transaction. I see like Venu, XYZ, 4 नाम दिख रहा है. Back of my mind, I'll presume that हाँ इन्हीं को payment हो रहा है. नाम उनका रहेगा, अगर account number मेरा डाल दिया तो. Is there a verification? Banks doesn't validate any of those names. Banks only validate whether the account number and IFS is matching or not. नाम आप खुद का कुछ भी लिख लो, right? So these accountants who know they are smart, they don't do bigger thing. They just 500 rupees, 3000 rupees, looking at the size, they put those amounts and they just put it as some reimbursement of someone. Now, what if you say that once the payment entry is done in your accounting software, Tally or whatever, whomsoever is approving, he goes into that software, he says that, okay, press a button called pay in that accounting software. No CSV, payment directly happens into the bank. You will get a OTP on your mobile, which will also show up on the Tally screen. You enter the OTP, payment is done. Now, which means the control that you, next control that you need to build is the guy who is creating the masters. So there is a central guy who should be preparing the vendor master, and his account number, everything should be centralized and it should be controlled. That is what we just need to set it. So now we are very sure that the access to creating masters is someone and transaction posting is someone. we are not envisaging what can be done. The real problem is we are actually not envisaging what are all the things that are possible. So that is why I am saying, as I said in the beginning, to do a demo, there are host of the things to do the demo. All that I am just showing you certain simple things that we do. Okay. In the same client, if I have to, let's say, GST returns. Alright, so for the, I want to file my GSTR 9 and 9C, let's say for this client. Now, all that I will do is I will download the data from the government portal on a click of a button. I just click this, I get a OTP. So this is one OTP, and I enter the OTP and I say download the data from the government portal. So automatically data gets downloaded from the government portal, GSTR 1, 3B, 2A, 2B, and I say sync my books of accounts. It will sync. It will do my R1 versus my sales register, my purchase register versus 2A and 2B, my 8A of GSTR 9 versus 2A, all whatever which needs to be done, portal, this will do in the backend. All that I will have to see is like, say, prepare GSTR 9, it prepares the GSTR 9. Let me just do matching concept, so that even if something is near matching, you want to match it and do it, and say download. Now it is, data is available to use. Like as we are talking, it did something. I will not say that it is 100% right, but 70 to 80% of the work which you otherwise have to do before you start off the work is ready. It is done and it is there. Right. So let's, like you can see, it has downloaded. So it has just brought all the GSTR 1 for by month. My GSTR 3B data, it has come by month. Whatever the credits that I have availed, how much was there in my 3B and how much was there in 2A. It is compiled month by month and year to date, how much I have either excess avail, short avail, whatever. So some information it has already done. And not just that, it is also, it has given me a working file. Tentatively these are the values that needs to go to into GSTR1. It has prepared some numbers, and it also said that your reporting values, like little excess, somewhere it has put a negative value, some positive value. So the point here, we are not trying to learn GSTR 9. The point here is my start, if my start itself is giving me information. See, data is cluttered, but when you put it into an information which you can comprehend and get an understanding of it, right, then automatically you will be start thinking from that point. If your starting point to think is to prepare the data is different. The classic example, when I was doing my articleship, okay, those were the era of typewriter, all right. You know, and those only the seniors can only appreciate this statement. No junior will be able to think. For us, audit means if I could prepare P&L and balance sheet, tallying, it's like kind of audit is done. If I can successfully prepare a trial balance tallying, it is like conquered. Our offices I can never imagine we can have an office without a whitener. It's like today you cannot imagine an office without a computer software, but those days it's like we can never imagine that agar whitener nahi hai to kaam kaise chalega. And it is like in the first we do a draft with the pencil and everything matching, then give it to the typist does it, right? Now I am actually from that era. So if there the starting point for us was matching trial balance, P&L balance sheet match ho gaya, to it is like bahut badi baat hai. And in the bank audits we used to have the NPS statement 4 colors niche dalenge, like it will be so height, niche dal ke numbers idhar se udhar tally ho raha hai, to it's like you have done a great job. But today, is that the starting point? Answer is no. Today if you get a books of accounts where the trial balance is not tallied, it's like first you will tell 100 shoutings to that client. If you can't even maintain this, first throw that accountant, all that, you will send it back. Today's your starting point is R1 file, 3B file, TDS returns, everything is there. And from there you started doing the data analysis. Why don't you increase the start point? Why don't the start point be the analyzed data is with you? Out of so many transactions, TDS processed so much, TDS not processed so much. So take a decision where TDS is not processed, is it correct or not? TDS processed, the biggest mistake, no one verifies with the FUV files that are filed. The FUV file when I am uploading, again same, I can, in the books of accounts, I would have write TDS deducted to Mr. XYZ. Right? उसी के हिसाब से हम tax audit report issue करते हैं. But FUV file में I am giving that portion of the TDS credit to कुछ managing director. कोई उसको cross verify करता ही नहीं है. Because we think that either it is a fraud, उतना gross mistake होगा क्या? All that you will be looking at TDS payable ledger में 1 लाख था, मेरा चलान 1 लाख के हुआ कि नहीं, match हुआ tick. और TDS payable में जो 1 लाख आया था, इतने expenditure के लिए होना था, हुआ tick. But eventually what went in, is it verified? Answer is no. My 26 AS reconciliation is again seldom done. It is done only for the year and for the filing of income tax. जहाँ 26 AS से match नहीं हो रहा है, okay, write it off to income tax. So income tax expenditure for the current year, prior period expenditure, एक और line हो जाएगा. But why not it be done matching, why the matching it cannot be done every month, every quarter once it is filed? These are the questions that we are not asking, right? So दिखाने के लिए तो tools बहुत है, but my job is not to give you something and get off which is actually will be of no use. What is the use for you when you go back to the office is questioning yourself on the 3 things. Number 1, if you are interested to grow your practice multifold, that's different. But in the same thing which you are doing, I am just repeating what I said in the beginning. Number 1, will you be able to handle a client in the, like you are doing only GST, let's say. Will you be able to handle a client like Infosys or some Flipkart or Amazon who is coming? Can you file my GST R1 from the coming month? This is question number 1. So ask yourself, will you be able to handle a deepened work or not? Question number 2, how much you are investing in the technology? In fact, a medium firm, when I say medium firm, someone 2 partners to 5 partners, minimum should have 1 lakh new additional budget set aside towards technology. This is the question to which I want you to ask yourself. Last question, which is a continuous question which you should be asking. If this is what I have done in this month in 10 hours, can I do it in 10 minutes? From when? Maybe next month, next year. When can I do it? Like, how can I retire myself from doing that work? If I retire, someone will come and do, I can start doing something else. These are the 3 questions I am actually leaving you with. Before I end this session, though I have just shown, in fact, I just want to show one other last thing. Like most of you prepare Schedule 3 financials, right? This is the part of your, the regular thing. In fact, in the second, there is a session, financial statement preparation, right? This is someone which we give it to the team, who generally takes some time, right? But if you set a template, कि most of the time your templates are set, जो in fact our audit क्या होता है, पिछले साल का ले लो, कंट्रोल सी कंट्रोल वी, ट्रायल बैलेंस चेंज करो, ऑडिट रिपोर्ट तो पार्टनर नेम चेंज करो, डेट चेंज करो, बस ऑडिट रिपोर्ट तो इज लाइक द लीस्ट स्पेंट वर्क बाय द टीम. सो can I automate this? It's like this is the simplest thing. In fact, when you, the tool which I have shown, when you do run the tool does all your tax audit, GST audit, stat audit, and just this is my trial balance, right, which I have, so there is nothing in your balance sheet. Let me delete the rest of the things. Everything is showing negative. All that I will do. In fact, your colleague would actually deepen this. All that I'll just say prepare schedule 3 financial year financials for current year, and you can see automatically it will connect to the database. It will fetch. It will parallelly prepare all the information for you. It may take a minute. It will see whichever the expenditure is mapped, it will go to the mapping expenditure. Whichever is not mapped, it will go to unmapped expenditure. It will give you one list automatically. Right? All that I am saying is tools are available. What is missing is you not asking the questions. Right? So before I hand over, any questions from the audience? Yes, sir. Okay, so question is 5 top softwares which I suggest who use Tally as an accounting software. I'll answer that in little diplomatically. What you want is the first thing. Like if you say you want as an accountant's life to be easy, then look at it, the software where the data entry is automated. So today everyone is doing Flipkart and everything. So there are unicommerce platforms where data gets integrated. So ensure there is an integration to the Tally is taken care. Second, for reporting is like this one software which I have shown, Tally on Wheels. For reporting, look at that. So you pose the question even more deepen and just Google, I need this. You will get the answer. There is no right answer, but you will get the answer.
So for reporting, I am asking, so top 5.
Use this. Pick one. Any software, there is no good software. Technology is never a USP of any software vendor, because आज की डेट में ये फीचर है, 3 महीने के बाद वो फीचर दूसरे केस में आएगा. Technology is never a USP. I will say start with one software in that whatever you are asking. You only have to go back to the software vendor asking कि हाँ इतना यूज कर रहा हूँ अभी ये चाहिए मेरे को, right? And do not expect anything comes free. And nothing is free in this world. In fact, my boss used to say, if your father-in-law is taking care of you, he has his own interest that I take care of his daughter, right? So nothing comes free. Everything has its own hidden agenda. अगर कोई सॉफ्टवेयर फ्री में दे रहा है तो आपका डेटा चोरी करके कहीं और बेच रहा है, right? So yes, sir.
So thank you for an enlightening session. So my question is a bit more superficial. So you've mentioned in your session today that everything is being done by technology, and when GST came into the picture, a major task became reconciliation. Now that since 1718, we have all seen that technology is gradually improving, and one of the main processes which relates to reconciliation, it is being done by many softwares. Some people is using X software, some people are using Y software. Now there have been talks that maybe it will be done automatically by the system itself going forward.
Correct.
Same goes for maybe income tax, that the way AIS and all the features are coming around. A lot of the work which we are doing manually, we are deploying manpower, or maybe we are doing by ourselves using some technology, some system, that might be done by the IT department itself.
Absolutely.
So where do you see our services? Like where should we focus on that?
Okay,
towards
actually
skill
this
building?
is the question of the panel discussion today afternoon. But let me just tell you, where you see yourself is wherever you can see. If you continue to see yourself as the same data entry operator processing thing, then you will have set of the manual clients who are not adopting that technology, they will come to you. But if you see, in fact, the litigation practice is getting automated. Do you know that the servers talking about liquid text? So while filing the appeals, we have volume 1, volume 2, then you have compilation of case laws, you have synopsis that you will give. There are various sets that we give it. Today, it is like you get an iPad and get everything ready. As you are arguing to the case, all the references, everything is there. Today, you have DRC 01C and 1D which is coming up and saying that within 7 days you have to comply. There are softwares which will automatically, you are sleeping, but software will keep looking at the portal and it will send you that, okay, these notices have come. Now, where you have to see yourself is, do I want to log in and check to those notices, or do I want to attend to those notices? That is where, so again, the answer to this question is, you got to ask yourself where you want to see yourself. That will give you the answer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yes.
as you said, GSTR1 and 3B data will be auto-populated if we give the OTP there, right?
Right.
So main challenge that we have reconciliation statements, maybe 1 versus 3B vis-a-vis books of accounts. Preceding month as well. So can we get the report? Suppose we are filing a return for the month of the September 2023, say for example, right? So can we get the report for the month September 2023 up to September 2023, 3B vis-a-vis 1 vis-a-vis books of accounts from this software?
Straight answer is yes.
Along with differences also.
Absolutely, with the delta. And the next thing I will say is that ask the client to subscribe this and you tell him that, okay, you got to generate this and send it to me. Otherwise, if everything has multi-user, you have let one person in your office do that and give it to you. So you only spend time in ki kon se invoices change ho rahe and why is the change happening?
Right,
What
right.
is the internal control there which is missing? Those are the things you can address. The answer to your question is this software which I have just shown you, which it does it.
Okay. Another question, suppose in the litigation matters, we are dealing a case of section 17, subsection 5 block credit. Can you suggest any software by which we can get all the advanced ruling of 17(5), all the judicial pronouncement, all the high court judgments, all the everything, so that, no?
Which software you are using, sir?
I am using the tax management right now.
See, again, no software is right. Like I'm sure Excus, anyone have heard use it? You put this, you'll get in Excus. You
Which
use
one?
Tax Sutra, you put it, you'll get it. Excus. So answer is, today every software is competing themselves to give the best. So technology is not the USP. You ask this question saying that, okay, I want to have against one high court judgment, favorable against, advanced rulings, all with the classification. Earlier it used to give, we used to classify. Now it will classify and give you. I'm sure anyone who is in GST litigation will use Excus. If not Excus, some database, Tax Sutra, Taxman, Tax India Online, something will give it. Answer is yes.
Thank you, sir.
So last question, because I am holding the other speaker.
Right, sir. Sir, these days notices are issued online through the GST portal itself.
Correct.
They are not served on mail or message or by post, and that is treated as a valid service.
Correct.
Now, it is not possible to log into the portal every day for each client and check whether a notice has been issued or not.
Absolutely.
And by the time it gets noticed, it becomes time barred or the time has lapsed. So, what is the solution for this?
Okay, if I have to answer as a lawyer, the solution is whenever you have seen, whenever it came to your notice, that is the date of communication. Just because it is posted, like I'm a BBMP contractor, a municipality contractor, I can't assume that every day मैं देखते रहूँ, right? That's not my job. So a legal answer is whenever you saw, that is the date of service for you, okay? But no, you don't want to get into that litigation. I'm saying these tools are available. You are sleeping, they will keep checking on the portal every day and say, is this many notices have come. It will prepare a case diary. Not just it has come here, the due date is 7 days from now, 30 days from now, it will prepare a calendar and it will just mark it and show it to you.
What's the name of the software?
Pick any, which is the software you are using for GST?
Computex.
Okay, go back and tell them that I want you to give me the notices. I'm sure they would have an additional module. If not, they will give it to you. But in our office, we use GST Zen, we use Gemco, both the softwares give. So try.
You have spoken to them, but they are saying that you have to give the captcha for each company for all the time when it will
Okay,
check.
so
But
the
that is-
captcha business is going to go away in another 15-20 days because GSTN has issued APIs. See, wherever there are no APIs, so one has to manually log in. So we call it as RPA, robotic process automation. So that does a screen scraping. What you normally log in and do it, that is what systems will do.
So, but you are saying the GST Zen is already having this.
No,
they can do-
everyone does the captcha at this point. Another 15 days, a month, that will go off. Like how I've downloaded R1 and 3B. I didn't enter any captcha anywhere. Neither I download. So there are APIs which are given by the system. So APIs will take care of it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Before they throw me out, so let me first thank. And one quick question to you. Let me see who will answer. What thing a software cannot do? So the eldest sir is right. So what you cannot visualize is not possible by the software. So what is lacking is not the software. What is lacking is what you are not able to visualize. And a small token of appreciation for raising your voice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
So I'm sure we all had an enthralling session. So we all know that our imagination goes wherever our technology takes us. And same with technology. When it comes to technology, this is till where our imagination goes, which sir has explained us very well. So we need to imagine what do we want from it. And thereafter we get the results out of it. And I've had multiple interactions with Venu sir. I've had a number of opportunities to do that. And I'm sure the number of changes that he's bringing in through the technology in our profession, that is something which is incredible, because we are indebted to him for making these sort of understanding to our profession, which is helping us in saving a lot of time. So this is where we start, to be honest. It is very difficult to capture everything in a small presentation, but there is a whole lot of list of things that we can do, but this is at least a start where we get to think as to what is it that we want, so that we can ask our relevant vendors or our software persons, so that we can know what we want and how do we get it from them. So at least our thinking should start from that direction. So this is where our session has helped us a lot, and there have been a number of features which we have all noted down, which will help us a lot in the long run. So thank you so much, Venu sir, for giving your valuable time to us. We have a couple of sessions ahead with you in the future as well in the second auditorium. So thank you everyone for staying for this session and having this session very fruitful for all of us. So with this, we'll come to the close of this particular first session. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, friends. Please stay with us. We have the next topic hour, doing more with Google Workspace. Google Workspace is a very important topic, so I request to please be here. I would like to invite Mr. Abhay Verma ji to the dais. I will request to Mahesh Chandra Gupta ji to come forward and present the memento to our guest speaker. Sir, I will do. Thank you, Mahesh ji. I would take the pleasure to read out his profile of the Abhay Verma ji. Abhay Verma ji is a result-oriented sales manager with experience of developing relationship and partnership, servicing accounts, and boosting profits. He is strategic and analytical with motivational leadership style and expertise in building new network connection, promoting products, and expanding territories. I would like to invite him and request to please start his deliberations. Please.
Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So myself, Abhay Verma, born and brought up in Kolkata only, Girish Park. So I'm here to present about Google Workspace, as the topic of the session is doing more with Google Workspace. So before starting with the technicalities, practical application, I would like to tell you what Google Workspace in layman terms means. We all have been using Google Workspace since 12 to 13 years. We all, in fact, everyone in this hall. So it is nothing but a Gmail account. हम सब के पास एक Gmail login होता है, name@gmail.com. सबसे पहला काम हम लोग वही करते हैं. So Google Workspace is nothing but the business version of Gmail, and how can you do more with the Google Workspace account? It's as simple as that. And why it's important with our fraternity? Because we deal with very important documents which are highly confidential in nature. It should be protected properly. It should not be, the privacy of all those documents is equally important for all your clients, be it individual, be it enterprises. So how can you protect that data, your client's data, your company's data, your internal data from being violated outside? So our journey so far, we started in 2010, almost in June, in a single office back in Sector 5, and slowly we onboarded our first customer, which was Power Gen, and then we moved to a bigger office in Newtown. We started with our directors. It was a 2-employee. Now we have almost 250 plus employees working from Kolkata HO. So the journey has been quite interesting. Soon, this year, we are about to close around 100 CR in ARR, annual recurring revenue. So these are our clients. CESC, a very good brand of West Bengal. RP Sanjeev Goenka, Kalyan Jewelers, SRMB, Srijan Group, Arohan Financial Services. So these are Primark is a very big real estate firm, NK Realtors. So all are our customers, and in a lump sum we have around 10,500 plus customers whom we are serving with Google Workspace. So there are some topics which we will be covering during the entire presentation. How can we collaborate remotely? How will Google Workspace apps help us in doing our work or simplifying our work? Google Meet and Chat. And nowadays it's the talk of the town. How is Google Workspace incorporated with AI? Then how can you also manage the devices? Sorry, it was not visible. And last, we'll be giving a very brief demo of the admin privileges of Google Workspace. Now, before starting with, आप सबके मन में एक सवाल होगा that अगर Gmail account free में available है ही, we all have access to Gmail, so why do we need Google Workspace? So Gmail is nothing, it is freely available. Google Workspace is the business version of it, as I already told. So in Google Workspace, you will be getting your name at yourcompanyname.com domain. Through Google Workspace, you will be getting much more security aspects through which you can preserve your company's data from being shared outside. Suppose you are running a firm of 10 employees or 10 partners. Each and every one of them has the access of important customer data, their balance sheets and everything, their ITRs, everything. So what if one of them plans to move on after working for 4 or 5 years? They have the access of everything. So through Google Workspace, you can control that the data remains within the organization or within the company or within the firm, even if your partner leaves or not. Or stays with you or not. Thank you. So with the onset of COVID-19, many organizations adopted a hybrid work model, a mix of both at home and in-office environment. It had its group of challenges. To navigate this hybrid future, organizations started to adopt flexible solutions to help people connect and collaborate from any location and on any device. Specifically, there were 3 main themes we have seen. First is work is no longer a place. We can work from anywhere we want. And time is more precious. And human connection is very crucial. So how does Google Workspace help us in working remotely? We can connect with our partners, our teams through Gmail, through Calendar, through Google Chat, through Google Meet. We can create through spreadsheets, which is just an alternative of MS Excel, through Google Docs, which is again an alternative to MS Word. We have Google Slides, which is an alternative to MS PowerPoint. We can access those files through Google Drive. We all are aware about that. In Google Workspace, we have much more advanced features of Google Drive as well. You can control who sees your data, who has the visibility of your spreadsheet, because when you share a spreadsheet through your personal Gmail account, you don't have any control as to how many forwards it is happening, who is forwarding to whom. So through the corporate version of Gmail, you can track how many forwards have happened, who has forwarded that important file to whom. So everything can be done through Google Workspace. So this is flexibility across an open collaboration is essential to power work from anywhere. The foundation of Google Workspace was basically started in the year, the Gmail was invented in 2002, I believe, and Google Workspace as a suite, it was launched in 2006. this is a sample Google Doc file. It shows how you can create a proposal and you can invite people from whom you want inputs in real time. You don't need to download it and then mail it to that concerned person, and then the person will give their input and then again save that file, again forward it to you. So it's basically, while creating a proposal, there is an option of inviting people in the top right corner. You can ask them to invite, they will join and they can give the input and get the work done, which was earlier, it was taking around a couple of hours. That work can be done in 15 to 20 minutes. So the overall output, overall productivity is improved. Again, we can also work in the offline mode. It was a myth earlier that all the Google products are online. So in 2016, they came up with working in the offline mode as well, just like MS Excel or MS Word. You can activate the offline version of every file and you can continue working or editing on it, even without internet. I'll just play a very short video to understand how Google Workspace incorporates AI and how we are delivering it for the next gen. We have an audio along. You just need to type build a presentation and Bard will build it for you. That's it. So we just saw that how Google is helping us doing a task which used to take around 20 to 30 minutes in around some seconds. Also, if we just zoom it in this a spreadsheet file, so this is basically about humans doing different analysis to bypass the human error, because when we do any file, when we do any kind of file work, there are high chances of having some human error. So with the help of AI, with the help of Bard, we have tried to bypass the human error as much as possible. With Google Workspace, you don't need to actually include or write the formula of Google of VLOOKUP or pivot table or any kind of formula. you can just go in the explore option and you can just write what you want in normal English language and Google will do it for you. So now we'll talk about the unstructured data which we have, because this group we come across lots of unstructured data. In the finance world, starting from the financial documents, bank statements, balance sheets, KYC docs, claim form, invoices, different videos, articles. So how so we have come up with Doc AI. So this Doc AI, what Doc AI does, it converts the unstructured data to a structured format. Let's see the example through a driving license in this image. On uploading the image of the DL, Doc AI automatically fetches and converts the unstructured data from the image to a structured data, thus minimizing the human error and optimizing performances. So how does Doc AI approaches a document when we upload it? So it first checks what's there, it understands it, and then whatever data is important from that file, from that image, it just fetches it through some pre-coded templates. This is it. So Google in the last 5-6 years, we have come up with Smart Compose. If you are using even the personal Gmail, once you start writing an email, Google automatically suggests you the next line, the next word. So it's basically a live example of how you can compose smartly. Second is Explore tool. In every doc file, in every spreadsheet file, there is an option of Explore from where you can just write what you want. If you want a VLOOKUP to be performed, you don't need to know the formula for VLOOKUP. You can just write that please apply VLOOKUP in tab 6. So Google will apply VLOOKUP and give you the answer for whatever data you want. If you want to look up for X, you can look up for X. Drive quick access, automated responses. It's very important. Now, whenever you get a mail, you don't need to think that what you need to reply. There is multiple options given to you, and you can click on any one as a response to it. Text to speech. Let's suppose if you are working in a doc file and you don't want to type. Typing is anytime laborsome. So you can just activate the text to speech option. So whatever you will speak, it will get automatically typed. Spam detection and cloud search options. Now this is all about Google Chat. Now why Google Chat is very important? Because nowadays lots of internal communication happens through WhatsApp, even in the corporate world. We share company data, we share balance sheet, everything over WhatsApp. Now WhatsApp is again a very public platform and highly unsecured. Now your company data, your client data, आप जिसको भेजे हैं, वो कितनों को भेज रहा है, इसका कोई ट्रैक नहीं होता है थ्रू व्हाट्सएप. एंड आप जिसको भेजे हैं, मान लीजिए वो कल छोड़ दिया आपके साथ काम करना, तो वो डेटा तो उसके पास रह जाएगा. वो क्लाइंट डेटा हुआ, कुछ भी हुआ, लीड डेटा हुआ, कस्टमर नंबर हुआ, फोन नंबर हुआ, कुछ भी हुआ. Each and every data is very important in today's world. So through Google Chat, it is everything secured. Once that employee leaves, you can deactivate the Gmail account, and everything related to your firm, your company, stays within the company. Also, Google ensures employee experience. So let's see how Saurav's employee experience is enhanced with Google Workspace. So starting from onboarding. So Saurav joined a consulting firm as a financial analyst. He needs to learn about the company policies and complete mandatory trainings. So what can we do for Saurav? Saurav receives the drive links and calendar invites from Akash. Akash over here is the head of training, let's suppose, to complete the required training seamlessly. Now once the onboarding process is done, next comes the OJT, on the job training. So as Saurav is now well versed with the company, he starts his role as a financial analyst. To understand his role better, he needs a training on the specific product on which the company operates. So Saurav is added to a group chat with senior finance consultants to train him, answer any open questions, and fills out forms for quick feedback. Once this OJT is done, now we need to upskill Saurav as well. So Saurav is doing a great job at his, and he now wishes to upskill in data analytics to perform better and progress in his career. So what do we do as an organization for Saurav? So Saurav is added to the shared drive for training that enables him to personalize his learning and development. So in this way, the entire employee experience is seamless and convenient through Google Workspace. We can connect face-to-face with Google Meet, and these meetings can be recorded for any audit purpose and for future use. Now we have the most recent development of Google, which is Google App Sheet. Now what is App Sheet? It's basically, you can create an application without any coding knowledge, without any practical programming knowledge, because in App Sheet we already have pre-coded functions for a real-time usage. You don't need to reach out to any app developer, which will charge you separately, and X amount of man days. If you know what you want, you can simply go to App Sheet and you can type, and Google App Sheet will design the app for you. Now where are app sheets used across the enterprises? In the field, it is used for inventory tracking, driver dispatch and logistics, on-site services, field resource management and asset management. On the floor, you can use an app to ensure safety inspections and quality assurance, facilities and maintenance, equipment inspection, contractor management. In office, you can use it for team approval workflows, project management and collaboration, budget planning and tracking, CRM add-ons or IT ticketing. With customers, you can use for event management, proposal and code generator, sales enablement and support, scheduling different meetings, onboarding and training. So these are the many live cases of Google App Sheet as to how you can implement it in the practical world. You can manage everything from a single admin console. At the end, we can ask. Yes, we can do it. That we can discuss 1:1. But this can be done, because at the end you have to enable it with your existing system. So you can manage everything from a single admin console. As an admin, if you are the owner of the company or director or CEO or the IT head or the IT manager, you have the access of the admin where you can add users, you can delete users once anyone leaves, you can set certain policies. If you have multiple companies under you, suppose you have 5-6 companies under you, you can all operate under a single umbrella. You don't need to have multiple admin consoles. So this is the UI of Google Admin Console. We'll take you through this. So these are the different applications which Google Workspace provides and the alternatives available in the market. For email, we have Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft 365. For productivity tools like Spreadsheet, Doc, we have Word, Excel, PowerPoint. For connecting with people, we have Google Chat, Google Meet. The alternatives are WebEx, Zoom, Skype. For storage, we have Google Drive. The alternatives are OneDrive, SharePoint, Dropbox. For collecting data, we have Google Forms. The alternatives are Microsoft Forms. And lastly, we have how to secure data on-premise. We have Cloud Search. The alternatives are McAfee, Barracuda, and Proofpoint. So these are our valuable customers, not us, but of Google. We have shared our customer list initially only. So this is the final slide, that after choosing to go Google, organizations have seen a significant cost savings in addition to employee satisfaction as well. 38% cost efficiencies for platform management, 20% reduction in help desk tickets, and less than 12 months to recover costs related to workspace migration. Thank you, but I'll just take 2 to 3 minutes more. I'll ask Anirban to come up and he'll just take you through the Google Workspace live admin console in another 2 to 3 minutes. We can take up questions post that.
No. Next. Returning. Okay, hello, thank you everyone. So I am Anirban from the technical team of Infiflex. I am giving you short description on Google Admin Console, what we can do from here. So in a single interface, you can control your entire workspace product, including mail, chats, and other security policies. Not only that, in the Google Admin Console, we can control our endpoints, that is called mobile device, laptop, desktops, including iOS device as well. Recently, Google has introduced pool storage, that is not only you are limited to a certain storage of 30 GB or 100 GB, you can increase more storage. So all the products, I mean, even you take any plan, these are all the products are included. These are the email for the mailing communication, drive for storage, meetings for video conferencing, calendar for scheduling, chat for internal communication that will replace your WhatsApp. For collaborating, we have docs, sheets, and slides, that is same to same as Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. Keep for notes, sites, it's internal sites. You can create your official website. You can post some ideas like any notice, and forms for taking response like order form, feedback form. And this is the new product that is called AppSheet. AppSheet introduced in Google Workspace. With the AppSheet, you can create any application without your coding knowledge. You can there are a lot of templates we can have a session on that, how this template works. Okay. Apart from that, in the Google Workspace, we have a reporting tool. You can audit and investigation everything, that anything, any suspicious activity happened, admin logs can check all of them. What are the activities happening in your domain? Any spam emails, phishing emails, or any data leakage, you will get an alert on that. If you have multiple domain, we can control all the multiple domains in a single admin console. There is up to 599 domains you can keep in a single admin console. Apart from that, you have a security policies like two-step enforcement and DLP prevention, context-aware access, like policy based on IP-based restriction, device-based restriction. Only this company-owned device can log into your corporate accounts. And apart from that, you have SSO as well. If you want to authenticate your logins on a third-party platform, like you have a Microsoft Active Directory, you want to integrate that, that is also possible. So when you join Google Workspace, first thing you need to do that, you need to create a user set. You need to plan the users that these users are going to onboard. If you have a already Microsoft Active Directory, you can, in a single click, that is called a GCDS tool we have. With the tool, you can sync the entire interface in the admin console in a single click. You don't need to manually create one by one. You have option to bulk update user as well. With the Excel CSV file, you can update up to 250 users at a time. If anyone leaves your company and before leaving the company he deletes the data, you have 25 days additional time to recover the data. And yeah. So this was all about admin console. There is a lot of other, part as well, but I cannot control the entire in a single short meeting. So yeah, thank you. If anyone has any doubts.
No questions. No questions. So we have, in the interest of time, we are cutting it short. So I have a quiz question for all of you again. So name, or which is the latest application introduced by Google in Google Workspace? Please raise your hand, any one of them. Sorry? Yes, absolutely. He's right. Yeah. Thank you so much for your patience. We are in stall number 2. Any kind of queries or questions you have, we are open. We are all ears to it. Thank you, organizers. Yes, sir.
Supposing my office is using Google Workspace, but my client, but they are not using Google Workspace. Can we interact?
100%.
And this Google Chat, this is, I think, it is.
He must be having a Gmail account.
Acha. No, in case of Google Chat, what I understand, Google Chat is like WhatsApp, but with more security features and in the Google umbrella, under the Google umbrella.
Right.
Acha, from Google Chat, can we share? Share the chat with WhatsApp or something like that? Can we do that?
You can restrict the forwards. Suppose I got your question. Let's suppose मैं आपको कुछ भेजा Google Chat में. अब आप चाहते हैं कि वो Google Chat से कोई अपने WhatsApp में forward ना करे.
No, I want to see. Maybe the person whom want to interact doesn't have a Google Workspace.
Right.
So no Google Chat for him. They have WhatsApp account like all of us.
No.
So can we send from Google Chat to WhatsApp account?
That you can do. But
like seamlessly, but from WhatsApp we forward, the Google Chat message can be just forwarded to WhatsApp message seamlessly.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions?
Data of customers.
You cannot share directly, but there are third-party add-ons. We need to, through APIs, we will be doing it. In your
AppSheet, we don't have this in AppSheet.
No, not in AppSheet. It's a third-party add-on. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Abhay Verma, sir, for demonstrating us on Google Workspace, artificial intelligence, and lot more to do for our day-to-day work and making our work in an effective and efficient way in every way so that we can make a Google a very compatible thing so that in every day, in every organization, whether we are practicing chartered accountants or corporates, we can use Google Workspace in a very good way. Thank you. Hold on for the next session, Revolutionary Audits from Manual to Automated, one of the best sessions for today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. So we have amongst us CA Amrita Chattopadhyay, who would enlighten us on revolutionizing audits from manual to automated. I invite her on the stage to please begin with a deliberation. Amrita Chattopadhyay is a fellow chartered accountant from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India with 20 years of professional experience in risk advisory, internal audit, and information security audit. She has done her diploma in information systems audit, DISA, and has completed courses on forensic audit and fraud detection from ICAI. She has also completed the power user course of SAP FICO. So I would invite her, I would like her to begin with her deliberation, but before that I would request CA Rashmi Chowcharia to please felicitate her. So, ma'am, I would invite you to the dais to please share your thoughts. Thank you.
Hello everyone, hello professional colleagues and friends. The topic given to me is audits from manual to automated. Now what do you understand by the term manual? Like manual audit. So what do you mean by the term manual audit or an automated audit? So can we have someone who can tell what do you mean by manual audit? See, going through the books of accounts or through the agreements, those are the part of the audit, because once we are doing audit, apart from the interaction, observation, and doing the analytics, this all forms part of the total audit. So physical, I think we need to understand the organization or to understand the business. I think a little bit of physical interaction will be required. You can't solely have your analysis on the basis of the data which has been provided to you. So I'll tell you one incident which I faced recently. So there was a discussion going on with a client, and it was an assurance service basically. So my area is basically audit and assurance. So it was an assurance service. So we were discussing, and the client asked me, which tool do you use to process the data? They had some data, so I'll be using the data and I'll be using the tool. So as I said, I generally use Excel. Like I'm proficient in Excel, various formula, if functions, match functions, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP. I have Office 365. And he said, so what? Do you use any automated tools? So when we say manual, gone are the days when you say that I do audit through my calculators. I think no one uses calculators in their office nowadays. No audit firm has a calculator. If you want to calculate, you have Excel, you can calculate there, or even in your phone you have calculator, so you don't need a calculator. So I was surprised when I said that I use Excel in my office, Office 365, and I'm proficient with various formulas that I have in Excel, and the client thought that I'm still using manual systems. I mean, this was a discussion which was going on, and he said that he was of the opinion that I was still using manual way of doing the audit. Our firm or things, we didn't have any automated way of doing the audit. So I was a bit taken back, and then he asked me, do you know Python, or do you know any other sophisticated tools to do the audit? I said, no. I said, then if you're using Excel, by the way, then how do you maintain the audit trail? I mean, if they have to maintain the audit trail, if the client has to have an audit trail, which has become mandatory recently, he asked me, what is your audit trail? Like, how do you maintain it? How do you know what are the functions that your team has performed? Do you have that? Because the client was asking me, I was a little taken aback when this kind of questions came to me. Okay, so it was quite a big company, and they wanted me to give them like how automated is my firm is, so that they can give the assignment to me. So we have reached a stage where the client can actually question you as to how will you do the audit or the assurance service. And I tell you, like calculator using Excel of Office 365, from the client perspective, it has become a manual method of doing the audit. Okay, so with this incident, let's proceed. Now let's understand it's important, like when we complain that we are losing many of the clients, or once the client, when they are small, they come to us. I'm talking about not the big fours, I'm talking about a mid-sized firm, okay, that we have here. And once they start growing, okay, so for incorporation, they come to us. For the registrations in the various places, they come to us. But once they start reaching a certain stage, and once they start growing, they actually look for other auditors. Okay, they actually leave you and they do the basic things, whatever was required to be done, and they move forward because they are growing. And here is the data in a regular monthly audit. If you have to do a transaction basis where you have to analyze the transactions that are going on, it will take you around 15 days of every month. Like once the audit month ends, and it will take you around 15 days to just analyze the data, what they have done. So you are doing a kind of a post-mortem kind of a work. Right now what we are doing is a kind of a post-mortem work, but the client was something on a real-time basis. Okay, so if the client is moving forward and you want to hold the client, you have to use some automated audit tools. And so what will happen in this case is the regular work that we have, that will be done by the audit tool, and we can focus on something else. Right? So this is the basic objective of the automated audit tools. Now you may say that we have CAT, right? We have the CAT tools, those are so how is, why am I talking about the audit tools which is separately? So anyone here using CAT for their regular work that they are doing? So what is basically the CAT tools? Okay, so those are the tools which will help you in analyzing the data that you have. Okay, but as an auditor, when you are giving an assurance or when you are saying whether the statement which was provided to you, whether they are true or fair or not, you have to also embrace the auditing standard. The auditing standard, you have to take the auditing standard into consideration because that's our Bible. Okay, whenever we perform an audit or an assurance services or any kind of an engagement, we have the auditing standards. Now we have the internal audit standards, but those are not mandatory till now. And then we have to comply with that. In CAT, what they do is they analyze the data in various formats that you want to analyze and then put it. Now, what happens if you have a blend of both? Okay, so we'll move forward. The future of auditing lies in integration of technology and human expertise. Audit automation is the bridge between the efficiency and the effectiveness. So when we are talking about the automation and when we see that the using of the Excel tool is considered to be doing audit in a manual manner, you're not using any kind of an automation. So what does it actually mean? So here we have a software which is the audit management software. Now generally the software that are available and the various CA firms that are using, you must have been using various kind of software for various kind of services that you are providing to the clients, right? So who started this software? There was an IT guy who understood that there's a problem statement on a problem area in a certain manner. So they have integrated both of the thing and they have taken help of an expert who may be a chartered accountant and they have developed a software, right? Now what we are talking about is how about a chartered accountant taking an initiative? Okay, a chartered accountant with certain years of experience, they take the initiative. They are the brain behind the software and they use the technology. It's the other way around. Okay, so here in the auditor's desk, it is a cloud-based end-to-end audit platform. What we have done is we have chartered accountants who have experience in Big Fours and various other sectors who is the brain behind the audit software. So what we have done here is we have integrated the auditing standards also. So when you are using the software, you need not know what are the auditing standards or what are the various steps that you have to follow in the auditing standards. I'll go through one by one and then you can understand what we have done with the auditing standards, with the data analytics and then the reporting. So the focus, the audit software is built into three platforms mainly, which is the planning of the audit. How do you do the planning of the audit? And then performance of the audit, which is the execution of the audit. Now the CAT tools or the various other tools which help you in the performance of the audit. But as such, they will not help you with the planning of the audit and compliances with the various auditing standards which tell you how to do the planning. Because the basis are auditing standards. Whatever the auditing standard says, we have to plan according to that. Tomorrow, if you are faced with NAFRA or the QRB, you have to fall back on the auditing standards, said that, look, I have done the audit on basis of the auditing standards. The auditing standards tells you to perform certain steps. We have performed the audit as per those certain steps. Now, there can be a possibility that we have missed something or which didn't come to our notice. Okay, so we have safeguards for there, which is given in the standard. So there's a blend between the auditing standards, blend between the data analytics, and then also, it will also throw you the reports, how we are going to do that. If you look at this, I have just picked up some of the slides from the software. On the left-hand side, you have a workspace which is created, which is basically about the company. Okay, what is there, creating a workspace for that particular company, giving, it's like if you are opening a Gmail account or any of the account, you have to give some preliminary data, right? So here it's the same thing, you have to give your something preliminary data, various utilities, you have planning section, performance section, and the reporting section. Fine. Here we have, and then you can also see the steps which was prepared I mean to say, if you have an article who is actually using this particular software, what he has done. And the next one is this, which has reviewed, whether the manager has reviewed or not. Now in Excel, or what happens is you just send the file across and you ask your team member, who might be an article or a junior person, ki kaam ho gaya, and he'll say, haan ho gaya. And then he'll send you the Excel file or whatever the files he had, and you'll go through, and the partner who is signing, he doesn't know whether the manager has actually gone through each and every steps or not. Because the partner takes the risk, right? So the partner doesn't know whether this has been performed, so we have what are the steps that has been reviewed. Okay? Here some of the automated function is the materiality. What happens is you have to satisfy or tell to the client or in the report that the financial statements are materially, they are true or fair or not. So the materiality performance, the materiality steps has been automated in this. The materiality calculation, which is the overall materiality and the performance materiality, both will be taken care of in this stage. And once we are doing, if you see the next slide, we have this audit steps. So once you upload your trial balance, here we are directly connected with the Tally. So there's a direct integration of this software with the Tally. So whatever data is available in the Tally, it automatically flows. I mean, you need not take it into Excel and then upload it into this particular software. The information from Tally, it automatically flows into the software through integration, and then the audit steps are automatically determined. I mean, if Tally data doesn't have any section of borrowings, so you won't have borrowings here as well. And you won't get audit steps of borrowings. Okay, and suppose there doesn't have CWIP, so you won't have the CWIP even in the software. So that step has been automated, and once as you've performed the steps, you have the various assertions, whether they are complete, assertions of completeness, assertions of valuations, of rights and obligations. So that is also taken care of. Because it's important in IFC, once you check the controls and once you assess the risk, it's also important that you take the assertions also into consideration as to what you're pointing out. So once the audit steps automatically gets into, it automatically takes the assertions also into consideration. Actually, by performing that particular audit step, what is the assertions that you're taking care of? Okay, and then for the sampling is done automatically on the basis of the materiality, which is automatically calculated by the software. The sampling you can choose. We have given you 3 samples, which is simple samples, or here stratified sampling, or the monitoring unit sample, which one you want to do. And that is there in the system. Now, what are the various modules that we have in our software? We have statutory audit. Once we are doing the statutory audit, what we have incorporated various compliances that is required, which is the auditing standards and also the CARO compliances. We have also taken care of the various requirements of NAFRA. We have gone through the reports of various requirements which the NAFRA, QRB, IND AS, CARO, they have prescribed. Internal audit is mostly focused on the data analytics. Okay, in the next slide, I'll show you what are the extra features that we have. So we have internal audit, bank audit for the central statutory audits as well as for the branch auditors. Now this is the unique feature that we have, which is independent engagement quality assessment. Our experience says that we help you in uploading the data also in the software. So the data has to, once you want to input the data has to be as per the auditing standards. So we also help you to have an initial quality assessment, engagement assessment, and then we'll tell you that what are the other requirements that you have to do, so that in the case of the peer review or for the QRB or for the NAFRA, you can go through, you can have a smooth walk in that case. So in audit planning, these are the automated functions, calculation of the materiality, audit planning documents, which are automatically done based on the data that we have extracted from Tally or any other ERP that you are using. We have compliances of ICFR compliances, which is 60 plus risk and control templates. We provide you with various templates. I mean, if there's an auditing standard, let's say auditing standard 200 or 201, which are almost the same with respect to the quality. So if you use a particular template, you are complying with maybe 2 or 3 auditing standards together. So we have designed the template and which is also embedded in the software. Journal entry testing. I mean to say the software actually goes to the journal entry and the testing is automatically done as per the audit program that are given in the software. Sampling can be automated, and filtered audit reports which will give you the observations also on the basis of the automated procedure that has been performed, and various checklists that are needed for the compliances. Now this is a unique thing which we are trying to do, which is understand the various challenges and use artificial intelligence which is embedded in the software. Now let's understand this. You went to the client, he gave you a dump of the data. Let's say he gave you a sales register or a purchase register. Now let's take the example of a very huge company where a 1 month transaction goes into, let's say if you are using Excel, it goes into 20,000 or 25,000 line items, okay, 25,000 rows, and then if you start with A and it goes to, let's say, 50 or 52 columns. Now you're lost in the data, right? You don't know what to do with it. And analyzing those data, understanding those data, I tell you, when we were using, we were actually doing audit of an organization where they have this kind of a huge data. Analyzing of those data took us 1 week. Okay, to understand actually what is there in that particular dump. So what we are doing here is we are automatically giving you certain red flags. Fine. These are the data anomalies. What kind of a red flag? Let's say you have region-wise data, and it's a retail stores where they are selling various electronic goods, and then the software tells you that in the month of April or May, there had been a huge sale of geyser or water heater. Now, why do you need a water heater in the month of April or May? Or it automatically throws you and tells you that air condition was sold in the month of, let's say, January or February. Now, why do you need air condition in the month of January, February? Ideally, the sale should be in the month of April or May, right? When they actually need it. So these are the one kind of data anomalies. And then suppose your working hour is office working hours is between 10 to 6. And you see huge number of transactions which are taking place or invoices being created at, let's say, 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. or even at midnight. Okay, so what kind of invoices is generated in the midnight when the office hours? Even if it is a work from home culture, no one actually generates invoices in the midnight, right? So those kind of anomalies, so it actually throws the anomalies at your face. So instead of studying the whole data, you can focus on a particular area, saying that these are the areas which needs to be focused. These are the things which maybe your team member, a junior team member or an article will actually give you this kind, and then you begin to think, okay, why it is so. You go and speak with the client that why this kind of a transaction is happening in the month of, for example, air condition, why it is sold high sales in the month of, let's say, January or February. It should be ideally in the month of May or April. One more thing is robotic automation of processes. Let's say we are looking at P2P process, which is from purchase to payment. So it starts from the requisition, then you make a purchase order, the goods come in, GRN are generated, and then you have the payment. So ideally in a manual environment, what you do is you check, right? You check whether the PO has been made as per the requisition, how many requisitions together was taken into consideration, and the purchase order was made. And then you check whether the goods has been received as per the purchase order and the payment has been made as per the agreement or the purchase order which has been done. Now what if the systems tell you that the system actually checks all these processes and give you the anomalies? I'm telling you about a situation where you have like 25,000 rows and let's say 50 or 60 columns in an Excel sheet. So here we help you to understand the processes, the gaps in the processes which have been taking place through robotic and automatic periodic closing procedures, because closing entries, there are certain closing entries which you need to pass, right? Once you close the books. Now what the closing entries are automatically passed. Let's say for example rent. Okay, if you want to pay the rent, you have to book the rent of those particular months even though there is no payment. So the outstanding rent payment, it becomes automatic. So it helps to understand those of the challenges. And this, what happens is you can have a better decision making. I mean, instead of like dwelling in the transactions, you can have a better insight. Yeah, you can have a better insight of what is happening in the data and try to draw conclusions from there. We give you support. We have implementation of the software, the quality review of the files. Those are the supports, because it's like if you put garbage in, you'll have a garbage out. So we help to understand, study your files and give you input that these are the areas, these are the gaps that are there in your file, with benchmark of the various requirements of the auditing standards, requirements of the Companies Act, requirements of the CARO, or requirements of the SEBI. If you're doing a listed organization, we help you in that. We support to upload the files in the software, and 24/7 support for the guidance, training, and also the guidance from the industry expert. I mean, say if you're doing an audit of manufacturing, it will be quite different from the audit of a hospitality industry, right? So that kind of support is also provided. Now I have a small video from the maker so that you understand what we have actually done with the software. As we have told you, this idea was conceived by a chartered accountant. Sound? One thing which was missed in the presentation is we have also automated external confirmations. Like you have to send confirmations to the bank or to the debtors and the creditors.
Welcome,
so we have
auditors.
automated
You all are prestigious professionals and champions of financial data, holding all the vitals for corporate governance and compliance. As emphasis on audit quality is maturing, it is underlining the importance of extensive documentation, maintaining activity logs, and maybe version controls. The bottom line being that if it's not documented, it's not done. We understand that. You are committed to delivering the best audits. However, engagement complexities and strict timelines require team effort and working in a collaborative environment. At Auditor's Desk, our vision is to provide auditors a platform that enables smart audits. We prioritize creating user-friendly features to execute the three key audit pillars: planning, performance, and reporting. Whatever you need to do will be covered in these three sections, and you can easily navigate across them, making the interface intuitive and convenient. Auditor's Desk has just 3 steps for setup: import list of clients, create audit workspaces, and upload financial data. Once done, you are good to go. One of the highlights of Auditor's Desk is our integration with various accounting softwares, be it Tally, SAP, Oracle, or any other ERP. It takes just a few minutes to get the results you need. Now, your audit teams will be guided by numbers, whether it's during planning, performance, or reporting. Talking about planning, it's a key activity in the audit lifecycle, and we have taken care of all the audit planning aspects, from setting up the engagement to ensuring compliance with ICFR. When you delve into the planning steps, you will discover numerous user-friendly features that save significant amount of clerical tasks. For instance, we have customizable template for creating engagement letters, management inquiries, or be it auditor independence. Once the document is ready, it can be uploaded as your working paper on the relevant section, and you will have an icon indicating the count of documents saved in each area. In the planning phases, we have placed great emphasis on ICFR compliance. Our extensive library of risks and associated controls for over 60 standard financial processes enable the audit teams in auto-populating the risk control matrix. Auditors can perform tests of controls, and based on their findings, the software will assign risk levels to the class of transactions. This assists auditors in making subjective judgments and modulating their substantive testing. Now, you might be wondering what happens to all the documents saved throughout the software. Rest assured, they are stored on secure AWS servers, which are known for their reliability and safety. If you prefer, you can use a self-hosted cloud storage service, and we can ensure your documents are saved there. We do not have any access rights ever to access your data or information stored on the cloud services. Our policies prioritize data security and make it a top consideration in software architecture. When it comes to accessing your files, all the documents uploaded can be accessed under audit review section, with the preview of maker and checker fulfilling the requirements of SQC1. You can download all the documents with just a click and keep them on your device in a structured manner. Performing audits are detailed and action-oriented periods of collecting data, analyzing them, and making sense out of the audit evidences available. At Auditor's Desk, your engagement teams can embrace this pillar for its depth and utility. Beginning from calculation of audit materiality and progressing to a range of activities like sampling, confirmations, journal entry testing, and many more, we have covered them exhaustively and extensively. For all the identified accounts, your team can leverage our library of 600 plus audit procedures that covers the requirement of Ind AS, Companies Act, and other aspects of the reporting framework. While documenting your audit procedures, you can mark assertions, record observations, and add comments for your engagement team members for their easy references. These features make it convenient for auditors to perform their tasks effectively and efficiently. With Auditor's Desk, you can perform sampling on ledger and sub-ledger levels. Our software offers various sampling methodologies to choose from, like simple random, stratified random, monetary unit samples, or we also give the option to upload custom samples. Testing for these selected samples is also integrated within the software with all the necessary functions like importing attribute, replacing samples with reasons, and even uploading supporting documents against the sample. During the audit process, auditors often have queries, and it's important not to miss any critical one. To assist auditors in raising queries and collecting documents or comments from the client, we have implemented a document request system. Document request system icons are appropriately placed across the software with ledger and sub-ledger and audit samples. All you need to do is to click on the icon, note down your query, and send it to the client. The client will receive a direct link where they can provide comments or upload the requested documents in the response to the query. Our software includes an integrated confirmation tool that allows auditors to send and receive confirmations from accounts receivable, accounts payable, and banks. The tool also provides a dashboard to help auditors manage and control the confirmation process efficiently. Once all the audit procedures are completed, the audit report can be generated directly from the software. The report can be customized to include the necessary clauses as per the auditor's requirements. As an add-on function, we have provided the option to prepare financial statements along with the relevant notes directly from the software. Our team is continuously working on enhancing this utility by leveraging machine learning to limit the need for manual mapping which makes preparing financial statements a delight. At the conclusion of audit, auditors can utilize various checklists to evaluate quality and coverage of their work. These checklists are not just questionnaires anymore, but they are working checklists. For example, under CARO, the relevant clauses are enabled based on primary inputs. This means you only need to focus on answering the relevant questions, and you can also attach documents, record comments, download the checklist, and prepare the final CARO report from the software itself. Our team of professionals is constantly working on developing smart content for the auditors. I am confident that once you have hands-on experience with the software, you will truly appreciate its capabilities and detailing. We just don't provide software. We offer a comprehensive and end-to-end audit solution. We understand that implementing new softwares and transforming from manual processes to IT-enabled processes can be challenging. And that's why we have taken this responsibility off your partners' shoulders. Our onboarding team assists firms for on-the-job training and implementing the software. And that's not all. Our support team is always ready to help and resolve any queries you may have. This is just a beginning, and we have more exciting features and functionalities coming your way. We are integrating with various services to bring out crucial findings of related parties, transactions with struck-off companies, analysis of bank statements, GST reconciliations, and many more such differentiators. We have partnered with industry pioneers and prestigious institutions like IIT for research and development in areas such as contract reviews, accounting estimates, ledger scrutiny, and whatnot. We are rigorously testing these features in our beta version to ensure that these remain practical and effective for your needs. In the near future, we will be introducing our internal audit and BFSI modules to further enhance your team capabilities. India is evolving, and we are evolving with it too, while staying true to our core values of being simple, intuitive, and effective. In our journey to create an ecosystem of digital audit solutions, one of the greatest achievements I am really proud of is gaining trust of top CA firms across the country and having more than thousands of satisfied users. I am sure we can help you too.
Let me tell you.
Welcome auditors. You all are.
One of the unique things with how we are different from the other software companies, the other software companies are maybe started with a IT professional who understands the brain area, and they employ a chartered accountant to have the knowledge base and then develop a software. This is completely other way around. Shashank, who was speaking to you, is a chartered accountant with more than a decade of experience. He was an ex-ENY. And then in the team, we have various chartered accountants. We take the help of experts in the IT field, like we have gone to IITs to do the research work that I was just mentioning, like from the data that will throw automatically the anomalies that is there in the data, or maybe a robotic analysis where you have the processes are automatically studied, and then they give you a reporting format saying that these are the gaps and these are the transactions you have to look into. You need not look into all the transactions that are the dump that has been provided to you. Okay, so I was told that the question answer session will be later, and but I have a question for you. Are you aware that we have to take a written representation or the management representation before we conclude the audit, right? Okay, so what is the date of the management representation that you have to take? What should be the date? Sorry, sir? Yeah, that's right. Either the date on which, because there may be transactions which are taking place. Maybe you have seen inventory or the investment, and then suddenly they put an additional transaction. So ideally, the date on which the audit report or the financials are being signed, or maybe a day earlier. If that's not possible, just a day earlier, not before that, not prior to this. Thank you, sir. Just to inform you, we have a desk over there, so if you have any queries or you want to know more about the auditor's desk, you are please welcome to come there. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Amrita Chattopadhyay, for this enriching session on such a topical subject. You know, ma'am spoke on automated tools. She shared practical aspects and interlinked the same with theory. And she's also mentioned the need for interlinking technology with human expertise. And all these aspects are factored in this wonderful management software that she has been representing, Auditor's Desk. So, ma'am, we also thank you for the seamless walkthrough of the features of the software. And thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. We'll break for lunch right now, and after that, we have a panel discussion in the next room. Okay? Thank you.
Speaker profile. A very, very good afternoon to one and all present here. So after the amazing panel session, we are back to practical sessions. And for our topic, that's transforming audit with Excel Power Query. Like we all know, Excel is the application that everyone uses. But Excel Power Query is an application with feature only few of us use. So we have our very own CA Devarshi Bhuwalka with us to give us a presentation on the same. May I ask CA Bhuwalka, please come and take the dice. I would like to ask Shubham to please come and felicitate Devarshi. CA Devarshi Bhuwalka is one of our youngest, most tech-savvy and practicing CA, having more than 10 years of experience in our profession. He is a fellow member of ICAI. He is a BCom Honours graduate and the founder of his firm, Mrs. Devarshi Bhuwalka and Company at Kolkata. He provides training to corporates, CAG, fellow professionals, students and friends with a focus on digitalization and automation of the work environment. तो इंडिया को डिजिटल ले जाने के पीछे इनका भी थोड़ा हाथ है. So the rest of his profile is on the board, and now may I ask him to please come and carry on. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the next practical session. Okay, so in this session, we are going to take Excel to the next level. We are powering up the Excel and we are using Power Query. So I was preparing my slides as usual, PowerPoint presentation. I just made one slide and then I thought, why PPT? We are in the practical session. I will give you a live demonstration of the data. So my first question is on the board. How big is a big data? आप लोग कितने बड़े डेटा पे वर्क किए हैं? Excel, how many rows does an Excel have? Any answers? Excel में कितने rows है? Yes sir? 10,48,000 exact. Good. तो आप लोग वर्क कितने पे किए हैं? कितने rows यूज किए हैं आप लोग? 1.5 lakh. Perfect. और उससे ऊपर? More than? हाँ, 10 lakhs. उससे ज़्यादा यूज किए. Excel लोड होता है? नहीं, एक्सेल नहीं करता ना? ओके, गुड. Pivot table. I am asking how many rows can you load in an Excel? Hang up, perfect. तो तब हम लोग के पास Power Query का requirement आता है. With Power Query, we do not have any limits. We can go much beyond 10 lakhs. Okay, so let me open a file. This is named big data, and we don't know how many rows are there. So suppose I give you an example. We have a big client. He gives you his sales register and asks you, what is the total sales? He's asking his chartered accountant, tell me the total sales as per the sales register. I tell him, okay, just give me a minute. I will open the file and tell you. I click on the big data file I received. It is loading up. It is a big data. 9%. I tell my client, okay, hang up, I'll get back to you. My system is not working. I will call you back. Then we wait for the data to load. 37%, 47%. In a minute, this will open up, and you'll be surprised to see the error message. The data set is too large for the Excel grid. If you click on OK, I will click on OK. The data is loaded. Okay, I go to the very last cell. The last cell is loaded. So I don't even know how many rows were there. I just have the first 10,48,000 rows. Now I will open the same thing with Power Query. Okay, I will close this up, because if I save this file, the rest of the data that will be deleted forever. Okay, so I open a new window. In the data tab, we have something called get data. So this is where the entire Power Query is. So we click on get data. We have a file, so we go to from file, and then we choose from text / CSV. Once we click on it, we will have to choose the path. So like I go to my path, I double click on the big data file. Now you see, Excel is trying to create a connection with that file. The Excel then analyzes the file. Over here you can see this sample is based on the 200 rows. So Excel analyzed the first 200 rows and he has given us a preview. So the preview looks fine. Over at the bottom we have load option. So again, if we load the file, the Excel we have already tried, the Excel limit is not there. So instead of loading, we will click on load to. When we click on load to, we get 4 options. One is load to table, then pivot table chart, and then create connection. So we will just create a connection and we click on OK. So at the right hand side of the screen, we can see big data connection only. Now, we want to work on this data. We want to analyze this data. So we right click on it, we click on load to, and suppose we want a pivot table out of the data. We click on pivot table and we press OK. Now you can see how many rows are there. The Excel is calculating the number of rows. So we have gone past 3 lakhs, 354. So once this data is analyzed, the pivot table will be created and we can work with pivot table like we used to do, just like normal. So we'll wait another 10 seconds for the whole data to load. So I was planning a practical demonstration so you can feel the data. I could have easily snapshot it and showed you on PPT, but that would not have been so fun and interesting. So that's why I have kept it completely practical. Now we find that the data has almost loaded. So you see there were 15 lakh rows, 15 lakh rows were there. And now we want a pivot table. So I am just selecting randomly item type. So we have the list of items. Now I select on total revenue. And now suppose I have a region. I will demarcate the areas into the region. I am just applying some quick formatting. Okay, so over here, this is the first time we are seeing the total number of sales. So this is the pivot table. Acha, how many of you are aware of a dashboard? Dashboard sounds so interesting. So what is a dashboard? Yes? Report. And what does the report do? Summary of data. Right. And is pivot table a dashboard? No. So no hands up. Okay, yes, hands up. And baki jo nahi uthaye. Okay, so I'll show you a magic. Suppose, let me just get a heat map. I've just color scaled the data. Like now we can see which is the highest contributor of sales, the lowest contributor of sales. Now suppose I want to analyze the fruits in North America. This is the least selling item. So I just double click on this and boom, we have the total summary. So this is the live dashboard. So with this dashboard, we can do all types of analysis. So this example, this was the very first case study where I just made you aware of the big data, how to work with big data, how to go around with big data. Now, coming on to my second case study, it will be a more practical. Let's suppose I have a client who have branches all over the states, in every state. So every day or every week we get in a data, sales data, and we have 28 files. So how do we combine it? That is also a big data. If it would have been a one file with 100 entries, 1000 entries, we'll just open it. Suppose we have 50 files and everywhere the data is just 5 lines. So will it be a big data? Obviously, it will be a time-taking process. So what if we can automate it and with a click of a button, and mind you, without using any software, nothing. And it will be so simple, like if you just go back to your office, you'll be able to do it. We will be using Power Query to do it. So I will just close this window. I am opening up a new window. I will first show you the sample files. Like I have a sales folder. I have a region-wise sales, north, south, west. And the format of all the files are same. We have order ID, the product, the unit sold. So now, instead of opening and getting the data one by one, we will just import all the data at once. So once again, we'll go to the same Power Query window. We'll go to the data tab. We'll go to get data. Instead of choosing file, this time we are going to click on folder. So what happens is whatever files are in the folder, that will get combined all together and imported. So we select the sales, the region-wise sales, and we open it. So as we open it, the Excel has analyzed that there are 3 files inside that folder. And at the bottom, we have 3 options. We can either combine it, we can load it, and we can transform it. So we will first combine the data. We will click on combine and transform data. And the very next moment, the Excel will again show a preview like it did in the last time. It is based on the first file, the first sample file, and it is again showing a 200 rows. We are okay with it. This time, instead of creating a connection, we are getting into the Power Query editor mode. So this Power Query is inside Excel. So we find that this looks like an Excel workbook. We have the file names here, north, south, west. These were the file names. And all the data has been compiled one below the other. Now, we can transform it, we can format it, we can apply multiple functions to it like we do in Excel. Like for example, we have the transform, we can split columns, we can format, all sorts of stuffs are there. And after the formatting, we can just go to the home tab and load the data. So once we load the data, all the 3 files data will be loaded. So we can see that north, south, west, all the 3 files have been combined. And at the right hand side, bottom side, we can see that the total number of rows are 5,246. Okay, now let me again go to the editor mode. In the data tab, in the get data option, we have launch Power Query editor. All the editing, all the formatting that we did was in the Power Query window. So we again open the window. Now let's look into some formatting. So over here, we can format the cells into date format, into time format, like we have the store code. We click on the left square, and we have multiple options to choose from. So the store code should be a text option, so we can convert it into text. We are adding new steps to it. Again, the rest of the options seems fine. Now we find that in the source name, we have a .csv coming up. So we don't need the extension name, we just need the area. So what we can do is we can just select the data. In the upper hand, we can see two label heads. One is transform and one is add column. So the basic difference is that once we select a column and we use any function out of the transform section, so it will transform that column. And once we go to the add column, the results that will come into the next new column. So we want to remove the CSV. So we go to the transform column. In the extract section, we have delimiting options, like we have delimiter text to columns. In a similar way, we have text removers. So over here, we want to extract the text before the dot, the decimal that is coming up. So we click on text before delimiters. Now we select full stop. We have multiple advanced options available here as well. We can choose the starting point, we can choose the ending point as well, but that is not required in this case. We click on OK, and the data has been sorted. Now we load the data. And this was just the beginning of Power Query. What we did was we compiled the data. Now suppose the client sends that I forgot to sell a data of one branch. Now what do? We again go through the entire process again. That won't be automation, right? So this time, suppose I get the East data after a few days. I just copy the data, put it in the same folder. Now I go back to my Excel file. I go to the data tab again, and I just refresh my data. And once I click on refresh, you see the region-wise sales, it has automatically updated. Earlier we had around 5,000 rows. Now we have 7,000 row items. So at the end, west, yeah, in the beginning, east, north, south, west, everything has come up. Good question. So Shubham Bhaiya is asking, suppose in this example, we only had one sheet. All the Excel files, they were having one file, and we were extracting the data. Now suppose they had multiple files. For example, we have GSTR2B. The GSTR2B that is generated every month, they have 7 to 8 columns, B2B, amendment, CN, everything is there. So we can do the same exercise. At the beginning, when we are loading the data, the Excel will just, like Excel was asking the name of the file, it will also ask the name of the file column which you are trying to import, the file sheet which you are trying to import. So we can do B2B, then we can go to CN. So likewise, we can go. And in fact, in my next case study, I'll be covering that up as well. Yes, yes. Right. No, this is a completely syntax based. So the spelling name, that shouldn't even have a slight error, like a space. If an extra space is there, that won't be recorded. So, yes. Right. Okay. Right. So what does Excel do? In your example, you have 10 different columns. So Excel will search for the same columns. The data which is falling under the same columns, that will be imported under that column. And all the extra names, the new names, that will be coming separately. So you'll have the same names under the same thing. Yes, perfect. So moving on, if you have any more questions, you can interrupt in between as well. You're not audible, sir. Can you come again? Yes, but suppose you have softwares, different softwares are generating the data. So they will have a same structure. But if this is being manually generated, then you'll have to structurize the column headings at least. So that is very important. Yes, yes, the sheet names, the column names, everything has to be similar. One more example is there, wherein we'll be covering a different case study. Now this was, yes, Dant.
Past 1 year.
Right.
Can we generate? Can we club them also?
Yes.
Because they have the same.
Yes,
links.
perfectly.
Will
In a
work.
very similar way. Yes, the same will work. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this was the CSV files, correct?
Yeah.
The files which we have imported.
Yes.
If these are in Excel format, can the same thing be done?
मैम एक्सेल छोड़िए आप पीडीएफ फॉर्मेट भी होगा ना उससे भी डेटा निकाल लेंगे
अच्छा.
कोई भी फॉर्मेट हो any format will work. In fact, in my next format, I'll be choosing a PDF file. We'll be extracting data out of the PDF files. So everything is possible. And let me show you the possibilities. Over here, we have database options. Once you get deeper into it, you can extract data from every software, from Tally, from SAP, from Oracle, from Azure, from other sources, from web. Endless opportunities are there. In my session, Excel is an ocean. What I am doing is I just touching the waters. I will teach you to dive. So how deep you dive, that is the trick. So you keep on diving and you'll explore new possibilities.
Thank you, sir. One more question from your case 1.
Yes.
So there we had taken the pivot table from the 15 lakh line items.
Right.
Is there any way that we can take out all these 15 line items and can see at one glance?
No, the Excel does not have that space. So you can split into different columns. Like for example, you have 2 areas. So you can bifurcate into 2 areas and then that will be loaded into 2 separate sheets. But what will you do with such data?
No, so
okay, 10 lakh rows. If you print
alternative of
10 lakh
Excel.
rows, let me ask you a question. If you print 10 lakh rows, how long will it be?
No, it's not about printing. It's like if I want to see entire data at a glance, if I want to find out anything. So
that is why I'm asking. If you want to glance at that data, how big is 10 lakh rows? It is longer than the Mount Everest, mind you, ma'am. It is longer than the Mount Everest. So what we do is, in the Power Query itself, we apply formulas like whatever your analysis you want to do, like you want to add data, you want to subtract, you want to multiply, all sorts of operations can be added in the Power Query itself. So you will be adding there. Let me just show you. Over here in the Launch Power Query editor itself, we have this add column option, wherein all the statistics, standard, scientific, every operation is there. So you can play around with it and all your needs will be sufficient from this.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Most welcome. Okay, any more questions or should I carry on? Okay, perfect. So in the next case study, I have 3B PDF files. The GST 3B, yeah, this is the favorite topics for everyone. All the GST speakers are there in the first row. And Venu sir, the GST expert himself. So GST में क्या होता है, litigation हो, audit हो, कुछ भी हो, हम लोग के पास केस आता है, client लेके आते हैं कि ये हम लोग का returns filed हुआ था, इसका आप एनालिसिस करके आप केस लड़ो. व्हाट वी डू, हम लोग को कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आता, हम लोग मैनुअली बैठ के द प्रिंट आउट से हम लोग मिलाते हैं कि 3B में सेल्स कितना गया है, रिवर्स चार्ज कितना गया है, ITC कितना गया है. 1 घंटा करते हैं पर रिपोर्ट एकदम सही जाना चाहिए, एपलेट में जा रहा है, ट्रिब्यूनल में जा रहा है, कोई मिस्टेक नहीं चाहिए. हम लोग पावर क्वेरी से विद अ क्लिक ऑफ अ बटन PDF से भी डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं. सो लाइक दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपल फॉर्मेट जो अपना प्रीव्यू होता है. दिस इज दैट फॉर्मेट, मंथ वाइज डेटा. This has multiple tables this time. Okay. So now I'm following the very same process. So there is nothing to learn. अगर आपको नोट करना है तो आज का खाली इतना ही टेक अवे है. Go to the data tab and click on get data. That's it. That's the only learning you require for Power Query. The basics itself. So we go to get data. Now from file, from folder. Okay. This time I choose my different folder. And I click on open. This time the whole list has come, the month-wise 3Bs. Now I again combine this data. So I got a question that what if multiple file names were there, multiple sheets were there. So in this PDF, there is no sheet concept. They have different tables. So let me just click on one table. So while combining the files, the Excel occurred, to Excel it occurred that there are multiple tables, there are multiple pages. So Excel is not in a state to identify what are we requiring him to, I'm considering him, what are we requiring it to combine. So it has given us a preview. So we clicked on table 1. So table 1 just has the year and the month in it. Table 3, this has the sales in it. Table 5, this has the ITC in it. Or if you want page-wise data, we can click on the page 1. So it will have all the data relating to first page and second page. So suppose we want the sales data. So we have table 3 here. This is the format of the sales table. So now we select this table 3 and we click on OK. So what will happen is that from the 12 months of GSTR 3B files, the table 3 will be extracted and combined. So in a similar way, if you want the ITC table, we'll repeat the operation. We will select the table 5 and we'll have the ITC bifurcation as well. So now see, with the click of a button, we have the total month-wise data available in front of me. Now I click on load. We are getting the data. And see, we have the data. Now if you want reverse charge data, we'll click on reverse charge. If you want normal sales data, we'll click on normal sales. Now see, due to some PDF error, these two files, these are same, but due to some space issues, two different items are showing up. Like I see that nil rated. There is a space here and there is no space here. And again over here in the C, nil rated, N is small and here N is capital. So these are coming up into two different columns. And with GST sometimes they change the format. So this happens due to that. So again, this data has been combined, but this is not in a correct state to work on. Like if we want to add a pivot table, this data will have dashes in between, some values may be found missing. So we will need to compile it, and before loading the data, we will do some formatting. Okay. So to format the data, we'll go to the get data option and we'll launch the editor mode. So in the editor mode, we find that these tables, this should be a numeric value, but we are having ABC. It means this has been formatted as text format. Again, central tax, SGST, cess, everything is in the text format. So first of all, let me just show you some formatting. We can start with the formatting of the table headers. So integrated tax, suppose I do it IGST, I rename this as CGST, I rename this as SGST. So this is the first step of formatting. Next, I change the format of the column. We select decimal numbers. Over here also decimal numbers, and cess also decimal numbers. So what is happening? Can you see some errors on the screen? So I am just going down the data. We have null values as well as error files. So what is happening here? So this is a small data. We have 12 months worth of data, and this is coming into 50 to 60 lines. So we can just manually go through the data and identify whether the data is accurate, data is correct or not. But suppose we are dealing with 10 lakh rows of item. It is not possible for us to even scroll down the data. So that time, when we format this table, when we format a column, the Power Query will see every data, every line item, and it will show errors wherein the format is not matching. So like we were having a dash and the hyphens were there. So if hyphens were there, it will show it as an error. So now we will have to handle the errors. That is also very simple. We will just select the columns. Okay. We will go to Home tab. We have replace values option. We will replace the errors. Okay, one second. We also have, we can just right click. We'll click on remove errors. And once we remove the errors, the cells with the errors, they are totally removed. So you see the red mark, the red error sign, that has vanished. Now, if we want to remove the null signs as well, we can add, just right click on it and go to replace values. We can search a value to find as null and replace with 0. In Excel, we used to leave it as a blank, but Power Query doesn't understand blank, so we'll have to manually type in null and then replace with 0. So that way, all the null values, that will be transformed to 0. So once we do that, the data will again get refreshed, and all the errors, all the signs, that will be removed, and the data will be clean. So this time, when you put in a pivot table, all the data will come in more accurate. So this was just touching upon the peak of the iceberg. We have much more possibilities with Power Query. So due to shortage of time, we can just touch upon the Power Query. So if you have any more questions, we can take that up. We have 5 more minutes. Yes, sir. No, what is happening is, what is artificial intelligence? In artificial intelligence, you will ask them to analyze the data, to structurize the data. So the AI will guide you with the tools. At the back end, AI will be using the Power Query, and it will be giving you the reports. So like today also, if we have a file, we can ask ChatGPT, like we have this structure, please tell me the commands in Power Query, how I can analyze this data. So that is how it will work. But with Copilot, instead of just going to the tabs, it will have a instruction kit. You can follow that as well. And if that is integrated with the software, that will automatically be doing it up.
So basically, the process that we were doing manually using Power Query or Power Pivot tools, that
Right.
will be done by the tools provided by Microsoft.
Yes, at the also in many GST softwares, at the back end, they are using the Power Query to do the reconciliations and all the stuff.
Right.
So with this, you have the idea of what is happening. Like, let me show you another trick. Not a trick, we have an audit trail. When we launch any Power Query, at the right-hand side, we can see all the steps that have been followed.
Right.
Like over here, we changed the type, we renamed the columns, and every step has been recorded. So that is why when we add another file to that folder, Excel is automatically doing the same, these applications on that extra file. So we have an audit trail. In the software, you get the reconciliations, but we don't get how is he reconciling, what is the data errors that might be there. So both have their possibilities, both pros and cons.
Thank you.
Most welcome. So any more questions before we go to the quiz session? Okay, so time for quiz. So since I'm into Excel, so I'll be asking an Excel quiz itself. So everyone must be having their membership numbers. How many have 5-digit? How many have 6-digit numbers? Any 5-digit numbers? Membership number in 5 digits? Good, 1. Okay, if what is the syntax of the number? The membership number of CA? That should be 6 digits. Perfect. So if in Excel we type in, sir, what is your membership number? 55421. So I am typing 052421. When I click on enter, the 0 will vanish away. So I want the 0 to stay. Yes, the number format should also be remain. Number format should be there. Putting apostrophe, that will convert it into text format. The numbers will go away, so you won't be able to do any operation. We face this issue in the DIN number as well. The DIN number, the 0 vanishes. Number formatting, then what?
Make a right click and do the number formatting.
Okay, I am following it. Right click. Format cells. Okay.
Yes. There's numbers over there.
Numbers okay.
Formatting, and you put the 0.
0.
No. Okay, go to general.
General. Okay.
Custom. Custom. Sorry.
No, you
Sorry.
are answering. This is a quiz, not a trial and error.
Okay.
Anyone else? No one? Okay, I'll show the answer for this and then I'll go with the next question. So over here, we just click on control 1. Ashish was going in the right direction. And the customs, instead of general, we type in, if you want 6 digits, we will type 0 6 times. And now, this will be in the number format and we'll have 0 at the beginning. I think Ashish should get the prize. He knows the answer. He was just getting back to it. So Ashish, a round of applause for Ashish. Sakshi, the gift hat. So thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. I was interacting all throughout. I didn't seem like I was a speaker. I was just interacting with all of you. I had a great session. Thank you so much.
Well, Excel is an ocean and we all are ready to dive in. So thank you so much, Devarshi, for such an interactive session. And honestly, like sitting over here, we were just discussing that had this session been before the 31st of December, we would have really saved on so much of time in collating data. Thank you so much, Devarshi, for this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
I would like to please invite on stage Mr. Rishabh Pugalia for the next session. He'll be speaking on storytelling like McKinsey. And before that, I would also like to invite CA Rohit Prasad to felicitate him. A big round of applause, please.
This will continue to build up, and because of your inaction, this is going to cumulatively go higher and higher. So situation complexity, SC. Now, question. The question is framed with a very razor-sharp precision, attention to detail in the context of environmental challenges and the bandwidth of the team. For example, I remember when I was auditing in one of the big 4 firms during my articleship days, we had one client near Park Street. That client was not just also going through stat audit, but also US GAAP audit. So once one audit ended, the audit of US GAAP also started. They had absolutely zero bandwidth, the staff people. Now, if you tell them, hey, we should install SAP, all the staff member bagawat kar denge. Nahi hai hamare paas time. So these are environmental factors. So how can we integrate SAP with ADW within the next 45 days, given that the department staff is occupied with the US GAAP audit? So this is a very razor-sharp, pinpointed question in the context of the client. So building a story, situation क्या है? इसमें alarming क्या है? What is a quantifiable number that can be a potential loss or loss of opportunity? Then razor-sharp question so that we come straight to the point. And of course, answer means not just saying, hey, we do this. No. Answer in today's world does not mean a thing unless it is backed up by social proof. All of you buy something on Amazon or Flipkart, but you do that after looking some basic reviews. If it's an expensive product, you watch 2 websites, 3 websites. If it's a less expensive product, 1 website's basic review is good enough. So in terms of consulting, what does this mean? Proposed solution should quantify the investment. How much will you be paying as a customer to implement this solution? The time frame in which it must be implemented, and back it up with successful projects of the past. It gives me a comfort कि ये बंदा 2 बार कर चुका है ये, तीसरी बार करेगा कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. But if you are doing this for the first time, I'll have doubts. I'll have to set up a committee if it's a big investment decision. So this is what SCQA means. Right. So again, this can be discussed in more detail, but I'll keep it very concise. If somebody is keeping a track of time, let me know what, Rohit, let me know when is, ठीक है? Yeah, please go ahead. रियलिस्टिक रखिएगा. हाँ. हाँ. नहीं, I'll tell the marketing psychology. Yeah. हाँ. एकदम दोनों बहुत वैलिड क्वेश्चन है. आई एम सो टेम्पटेड टू टेक इट टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल, बट आई ट्राई टू कीप इट शॉर्ट. फर्स्ट आई start with a more important problem, that if I don't have past precedents of successful projects in that area, how do I approach this problem? That's one. Now, in today's world, what you see is something called portfolio of work done. Be it designer, be it financial model, be it a coder. People want to see a proof of concept, even if it has not been a client. I know because I myself have engaged a few people who have not had a single client. But when I look at the technical papers or the way they think or the way they have researched and put together all of things, give me a sense of comfort on their maturity level. Okay, that's one. Two, coming back to the question कि वो भाग नहीं जाए. मैं देखिए दो तरह से डराना होता है. I'm not going to name people, but in the recent last 7 to 10 days, there are people you'll see. If you would have seen YouTube ads. If you don't lose this course, your job will be gone. That is unrealistic darana. Okay? So be realistic in darana. Why? I'm not even don't going to use the word darana, because what you are saying is that, look, I'm going to present facts before you. You decide. If the person is going to be not taking any action, there's nothing much you can do. There's nothing much you can do. He is not your ideal customer profile anyways. Right. I'll continue. So this was a set of frameworks which I personally applied, did a lot of research and got some results, very, very good results. So ये थे frameworks of storytelling. Now, let me go a little deeper since you all work with the data. Story cannot be, there's a boy and I gave him a biscuit and he was so happy. These kind of LinkedIn posts you would have seen. Not appropriate for the audience that we are trying to write. Okay. So, since you work with data, there's a 2-stage model. देखिए जब तक फ्रेमवर्क और माइंडसेट क्लियर नहीं होगा ना, लॉजिक, टूल्स इज नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू. Okay, I can tell you 10 tools which you have access to, but it's not going to help you. So first, get the mindset right. Now, when you talk about developing a data story, that means a story which is backed up by data. This idea has been borrowed by an author I follow called Brent Dykes. वो कहते हैं, when you get data, first explore, because you don't know what's in that data, what questions to ask. You may not have worked in logistics sector, you got a client in the logistics sector. Do you know what questions to ask? Do you know what law and regulation would impact this particular logistics company if they are importing something from Indonesia to, let's say, Gujarat port? You don't know. So first is, when you dig into the data, look for patterns. Something that repeats every time. What is a pattern? March में capitalization करना. March में sales overstate कर देना. And there are tools. Power BI is one of the many, many tools which can help you detect this thing. Trend. Is there a general trend that, constantly I'm seeing that employees are not increasing, but the employee expenses are constantly increasing? Third, outlier. Very rare event. During pandemic, there was a time when oil prices were negative. Anybody remember that situation? Yes. This year, 2023 January, Finland, energy prices were negative. If you keep your fan on, you get paid. They had to shed off the excess load from the transformers. Okay? So these are outliers. Anomaly is, I remember I had audited a client in Jamshedpur in my articleship days. In the tally, I found one entry called depreciation to cash. Sahu ji naam tha. That's how you used to refer. अब वो आप explain नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है? So before you develop a story, you must find the right tools. Power BI is one of them to explore your data because it has so many features. Without knowing the question, you can find patterns. But once you've found the patterns, you pick only the relevant insights and then explain in a manner that is suitable to your audience. If you show McKinsey-like charts to a government department, your presentation will fail. They are used to a certain formats of chart every time. They don't want to shift their mindset. Nothing against them, but they have to deal with a lot of cases. So, the time it takes for me to shift mindset from the old traditional charts to McKinsey level charts takes more toll on them. And that's why I take a shorter route, which is for them is efficient. So you have to understand that for your audience, you have to pick up the right charts. Now that you've got access to some of the frameworks, you've got a mindset that first you explore the data, get some insights in those 4 formats and pick up those insights and then present it in a way. Now, how do you present? That I will discuss right now. Now, firstly, a lot of you may have questioned, Rishabh, are all of these in the video format which you can refer to it? Besides getting this uploaded on the AC website, a much more detailed set of videos are there on my YouTube channel, which I will ask you to take a screenshot. Everything is free out there. So, आप ये मत सोचना कि अरे आपने वो चार्ट कैसे बनाया. उसका आंसर है. आप ये सोचना ये चार्ट क्यों बनाया और क्या मैं इसे इस्तेमाल कहाँ करूँ. Think of the whys, the hows will be taken care of. Next. So I'll give you a situation comparing 2 numbers, actual versus target or current year versus last year. Most of the time I see charts like this. Nothing wrong. Cases like, last year production kitna tha, Bhilawara plant mein kitna tha, Badaयूं plant mein kitna tha, and I'm comparing last year and this current year. Nothing wrong. But I'll give you an alternative and you decide. Same data presented in a thermometer chart. Within 5 seconds, you notice there are at least two notable places where you did not meet your demand or target. That you can't do here. वो रेड बड़ा या ब्लू बड़ा इसमें खो जाओगे. और अगर ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट प्रिंट ले लिया तो भूल जाओ. ठीक है? So this is called thermometer chart. How to create this? I'm going to share the 2 YouTube channels ke screen and that you can search and find how to create it. Creating is not a problem. It can be created in Excel as well as Power BI. Now, McKinsey did one step ahead. It created something similar but more sophisticated. Is the video talk about creating this chart also? Yes, I have used the same data by punching the data hard way and getting the same chart in the Excel format. So thermometer chart is used when you're comparing last year versus current year, actual versus target, actual versus budget, or basically 2 variables of the same scale. Same scale का मतलब, I can't compare Facebook का revenue and my छोटू सा company का revenue. They're not of the same scale. But I can compare 2 companies which are of the similar size. Next. This is how the videos would look like with all the timestamp, which means if there are 15 or 30 charts that I'm discussing in a single video, you don't have to watch the entire video and all the ads. Just click on the timestamp, the one that relevant to you. So don't worry about the URL. I'll give you the straight channel's name. You can go and just search for the word thermometer. Now, abhi ye jo word hai thermometer chart. Some of you probably would know about it before today, but I'm just curious to know how many of you knew about the word thermometer chart? Some I'm sure. 3, 4. Okay. Now, is it difficult? No. Now that you know thermometer is a word, you can type thermometer chart. You will not find just my video, but many other videos and books. So, क्या search करना ये भी important है. क्यों search करना ये भी important है. Now, by the way, for people in the taxation, you can use this for comparing आपने कितना provision for taxation रखा था last year and how much of that was utilized. And it's a very good for IDT people. So anything where you're comparing 2 variables of the same scale. Now I'll move on. Pie chart is a lot of time misused. I'll tell you why. Reason number 1, when you have lengthy category labels like financial services and operations, lamba word. If you use pie chart, it gets truncated because of the limitation of the text that it can have. Wrong move, don't use that. That's case number 1 where you would want to avoid pie chart. Case number 2 where you have 3 slices or 4 slices which are almost of the same size. One cannot visually make out which is bigger. So now when you look at the second one, the financial services, the word is easy to read. Now imagine financial services and operations. वो कट जाएगा, operations part कट जाएगा. So it's not a good storytelling through your charts. Next, you can see the hierarchy as well. So are both charts technically correct? Yes. But on occasions, the right one will become more appropriate. That's called bar chart. This is again from McKinsey example. What they did was they had broken the entire story into two parts. First, they showed about the airlines that are creating value and not creating value. There are two bars on the left that you see. Value creating and value destroying. Okay. From the value creating, they connected another chart which spoke about only those airlines which are in green. So you get the big picture in a very easy, concise way. So again, another use of chart of charts. But the main theme is they are using this to... now imagine if the same chart was in a pie chart. At least a dozen slices. वो जो नाम आप देख रहे हो, Japan Airlines Japan, would have been truncated. So that's alternative for pie chart number 1. Some of you would have also seen in Excel something called tree map chart. Tree map, I would say, is a rectangular version of pie chart, but slightly better for one reason. Reason number 1, it shows you not just the category but also subcategory. For example, right now I can make out there are 3 FMCG companies that are being compared. ITC, HUL, P&G. Within each one of them, I have breakups of their divisions. So PCPB, Personal Care Product Division of ITC, Tobacco, etc. Now imagine if I put the same thing in a pie chart. How many slices would be there? Forget slices. Within slices, the name of the category. It would not be incomprehensible. It will be just difficult to read. So when you have categories and subcategories, you use something called tree map. And this is an example from McKinsey, another example. By the way, सब कहाँ से मिले मुझे? आपने Google search किया था अभी थोड़ी देर पहले? ये सब वहीं से है. So now you know the case of using tree map chart. Very simple. I'll not spend too much of time, but sometimes people also use donut with some numbers. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So I'll move fast. But these are mostly visual examples, so it will not take much time. So I have given some examples where you can see a pie chart looks like this and a tree map chart looks like this. The same data that you see on the left table can be shown in a descending order. What stops you from adding both the charts? So I can clearly see the percentage of cost from finance sector is far, far lesser than the others, and in the pie how it sits and where is the hierarchy. Next, I'll go to another cases of how McKinsey uses chart. Beautiful example. I call this parallel chart. Why parallel? There are 2 charts put side by side to each other and both of them follow the same series of category labels. For example, accommodation, education, mining. Now why is this relevant? Because to see the full picture, you not only want to see what are the sectors which are getting negatively affected, but would also want to see in those sectors how many small businesses exist. Most people, what they do is they use a 2-axis chart, 1 column, 1 line graph. It confuses everybody, especially with the category labels being so long. Arts, entertainment, recreation. So understand why we're using horizontal chart for the category labels. Understand that besides that, just to make it clutter-free, I'm putting another parallel chart to tell you the full story of that, look, certain business sectors in the small sector are in trouble. And you can find out that it's not mining, oil and gas because there's hardly any small businesses. Same example, I'll just quickly go through because these are mostly visual, parallel chart. This is a combination of parallel chart and thermometer chart. ये सारे videos आपको मिलेंगे. I'll ask you to take a screenshot in the next few minutes. All these videos are there in the channel. So don't worry about कैसे बनाते हैं. Next. Something even EY uses. I'll give you a simple example. This is the spending by different countries on labor cost. 1993, 2015. Apart from few outliers, you can't make out anything. But what if I show you this? 1993, 2015, and in a descending to ascending order, the gap, who has reduced cost on labor, who has increased cost on labor. This chart is also there in the video. So If you want, you can take a screenshot of this, but I will also tell you the channel name later. Is it visible? Yeah, I know it's very difficult to write those codes, so I'll give you the channel name straight away. It's much easier, but as a backup option, it may make sense to have a screenshot of this as a backup. Right. A few more examples, but let me take to the type 2 parallel charts. Oh, yeah. I'll have another 10 seconds so that you can take a picture. Okay. Next, this is especially relevant for a much more mature storytelling. If you are an insurance company and you would want the client to spend more on risk management, and you just give one chart like the one on the left, it says IMF World Uncertainty Index, it's growing. That's, I would say, a partial picture, but if you supplement that with 3 more data points, let's say geopolitical risk index or cyber breach or natural disasters, your argument becomes very strong that yes, you need to spend more on risk management. So when you're making a claim or assertion, you want to back it up with more data points from different angles put side by side. Let me give one more example which is very relevant for India. Although it's not an India data, but still relevant for India. Most political parties will say, hey, unemployment kam hua hai, rozgari badhi hai. That's what the first chart tells you. But if you supplement that message with the other 2 charts, unprecedented job growth, driven by part-time work in a polarized labor market. Matlab, part-time work means the share of full-time work has decreased actually. It's the freelancing that has increased. It's the part-time contract work that has increased. The net effect is positive, but that's a more better picture. And third, your high income and low income group has been benefited the most, not the middle income group, which is between a certain salary bracket. They get taxed the most. So this is a complete picture put side by side. Parallel charts, different data points put side by side. I'll skip the trailing chart. This is more to do with a specific Power BI tool. Bandhan Bank versus Bandhan Bank versus HDFC Bank. 2 stock prices. When you compare them, it's difficult to compare. Reason being their prices are different. What you do is actually normalize the base value. From this data, you can't see that in the middle of December 2020, which share price has outperformed the other. But when you look at this data, they both started from the same level. So this is called baseline normalization. When do you use this technique, which is there in the video? Use this when you're comparing 2 or more commodities or instruments of different scales. Bitcoin ka price or gold ka price or oil ka price are not going to be the same. How do you compare that? How have they moved up and down? This is what is then used. Baseline normalization. Next. Waterfall chart is something that almost every finance professional uses. So even McKinsey uses that. Is when you want to show capacity additions or a journey of point A to point B in terms of process. It may or may not be timeline. For example, material labor overhead. Then from that, what I reduce is the ITC, input tax credit. So when you have a positive and negative number, at the same time, use waterfall. This is from Tata Power, by the way. This is from Shell company. They are trying to reconcile earnings of one quarter vis-a-vis another quarter. Pluses and minuses. So when you do reconciliation, it's an Excel sheet. But if you put this in the chart, this is how it would look like. One common mistake people do, which is, if you ever using line chart, make sure it's always for time series. The second chart is wrong. It's not time series data. Skip this part. Yeah, because this is what I will take for 3 minutes and then end with the quiz. 7 storytelling strategies, which is what I found from multiple McKinsey reports. Look at this table. I spoke to a lot of Big 4 partners and they say, the juniors work a lot, but when the presentation comes to me, they assume that I know everything. I don't have much time. So if you have to present a table like this, I would say, try this. Key takeaway, pointing to certain sections of the table with proper numbers. These are called number pointers and highlighters. McKinsey also uses the same thing. number pointers and highlighters, especially for complex tables. And you will have tables in your audit report or any report regarding numbers. Number pointers. Clustering. Our human mind takes shortcut. If you give a lot of detail, but if you give category-based details, it is lesser cognitive load on your mind. So make sure that if possible your data can be clustered or categorized, do that using this approach. Same approach applied here. If you have some anomalies in your data, highlight that and you can go to the shape and make it semi-transparent. A lot of examples of semi-transparent highlighter. All examples. I'm quickly going through because these are all visuals. Anyways, you'll get a recording and the presentation. Highlighters. Callout is when you add this small comic book dialog box approach on a chart to explain further a data point. If you're comparing a lot of details for, let's say, various solution options, rather than making the table text heavy, use this approach where you have these symbols coming in the form of comparison. Right. So I've added a lot of other video links which will allow you to create visuals like this, which McKinsey uses a lot. This is called waffle chart. As you would notice, these are like a lot of things, but please capture this link. This is the end of my discussion, because even if you forget the other URL and if you remember or use this URL, you will in one of these find all the charts that I discussed about, thermometer, waterfall, how to create one, etc. Right. So if you have to run this program again next year, and if there are 300 people today or 400 people or 500 people, next year there could be more people and there will be more people. What chart do you use? This is my quiz question to all. What chart do you use to showcase that? Jisne kaha? Yes. You're comparing two things of same scale, last year, current year. So that goes your first question. Right. For McKinsey, which image format you had used in Google search? Correct. That's your second. Okay. But still, good attention. Thank you so much, everyone, and lovely having you on a Saturday. I'm available on LinkedIn. Please connect. I'll happy to answer some of your queries and point you in the right direction. Thank you. Yeah, it's Rishabh Pugalia. The same name with a beautiful face out here. Or if you just type in Rishabh Pugalia Excel, you'll find me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a deep insight into understanding and presenting data in such a manner that would make it easier for the readers to understand. This is our last parallel session. You can join the other room for the other session. Thank you.